On the last episode of Kitchen Bitches.
And she's like, do you know where your designated pee and poop areas are? I'm like, we have designated pee and poop areas?
Small part of like my 15-year-old brain that like kind of relates to that like makes me want to kill myself.
Back in middle school. Labeling a Roomba as a slave is not a valuable...
I don't know. I don't think a Roomba would appreciate these.
Labeling a fleshlight attached to a Roomba.
Welcome back to Kitchen Bitches.
All right. It's your boy, back at you with the good news, episode 2 of Kitchen Bitches. Today, as always, is going to be my co-hosts, Soul and Swoogie.
Swoogie was
because
not
I
ready.
was totally
not paying attention at all this week.
That's been basically the theme of this week. I'm just getting through work and not paying attention.
Yeah.
Well, it's only Monday.
It's
Yeah.
only Monday.
Exactly.
Exactly.
All right.
This is the first episode that we've done since the episode 0 has gone live. Though.
Posting.
That went up this morning at the time of this recording. So we're in the thick of it now. Like it's a thing. Now we can plug like to subscribe and all that, and it's like no, it's down there.
Yeah.
Like it exists
For
now.
real.
And we're going to have a little bit of new editing things to work with. Seeing that we have previous episodes to go off of.
Yeah.
I wanna. I didn't do this for episode 0, but we should put like a editing credit note at the just end of the description, just to let people know who edited it.
And then they can be the judge of who's the superior
Who's the best?
editor
Yeah.
and who needs to work on it.
I follow a couple podcasts that do that, and I can kind of tell like who edited it before I even look down there.
I can definitely say from watching YouTubers who have, their fans, their community edit video for them, who has done a better job than others, and albeit it's probably easier on the creator to have outside sources do the editing, but then you don't get that. You get a very mixed bag of results at the end.
Yeah, it's kind of subjective. There's like certain editing styles, and as I teach you guys, this is something you'll probably learn more. But like, there's certain styles where it's like, oh, you might be more of like a wacky kind of editor, or you could be like a more like professional, cleaner look. Like I know a guy who's like an amazing audio editor. Like he does that. Like he can make movie quality sound, and that's super beneficial. My style, like that I've developed, is kind of just its own thing. Like I'm a jack of all trades, if anything.
Yeah, and for amateur work, I'd say that's probably better than being super specialized. Just
it's I've kind of like had to do every
Absolutely,
piece.
Do y'all watch like gaming video channels where they'll just play a video game and that'll be like a 10-minute video?
Like
And-
Leafy is here type of stuff.
I don't watch him. But I'm just like Vanos Gaming. Have you seen any
I'm
of
not
their
familiar.
videos?
same.
Well, it'd just be like every day they would upload something and there's all these jump cuts and like wacky like editing things. And I always have to wonder like, are they doing that 24/7? Is that their job, or do they have a secondary job they go to and leave the editing to some outsourcing?
I was gonna say.
And I think certain people, obviously, that's their job.
Yeah.
Oh,
if you upload quality content every day, that's a full-time job, unless you have like a full-time editor. But even then, just because they probably would have to record at least 2 hours a day. So if we did this every day, it would definitely conflict with our normal lives.
Oh, yeah.
Especially if we gotta edit that every day. We gotta.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That would a lot of work. I think a lot of what they do is, just from what I've seen in some of the channels that I watch, they'll start on Twitch and just do like their whole stream. And then from that stream, they'll take maybe like the best, 15, 20, 10 minutes of that and, jump cut it down.
I know lazier people than that. They'll just be like, they'll do like a new Smash character stream, and they'll just take the clip of when the character got announced and when they're freaking out, and then that video blows up. I was like, you just took, okay.
I don't know. How do you guys feel about people inserting themselves into their game videos via the little picture in the corner, or sometimes in the more extreme cases, half the screen is this person and the game is like in just a little tiny box? because back when I first started watching YouTube and like gaming videos and stuff, a lot of it was just straight up gameplay on the screen and someone talking into a mic as they played, or like maybe they might go after, like do post, add the audio of them talking about the game and whatever, instead of this like doing the live reacts. Like I don't understand why people want to look at someone's face and see them react as they're playing a game. Maybe that's just me. I don't know how you guys feel about that, but
I can understand that. I enjoy. I can't remember the life of me for these YouTuber's name, but he always did a segment called Mail Monday where he would just answer questions that people would write in, but it would always be to like the newest game, usually the newest Call of Duty. But I just enjoyed listening to him while also like kind of learning and watching the video and like learning different movements and where peak spots are and stuff like that. But I feel like it would kind of take me out to like see him talk to me, because then I'm like, oh, there's two things that I gotta focus on, and I am kind of uncomfortable when I was watching these. When I first started watching videos, I was just uncomfortable seeing someone else's face as he's playing the video game.
yeah.
I don't know.
Me personally, like I don't watch a whole lot of like gaming content. Like I'd much rather like watch a review or an analysis of a game. Like if I'm gonna watch like a Let's Play, I gotta be really selective about it. I have to like the person. I would much prefer to already have played the game, because I am one of those people, like I don't want to be robbed of my own experience by watching someone else's. And on top of that, they have to be, a good Let's Player. And if their face is on the screen, like the one Let's Play I did, I used the green screen thing, and that was more just kind of be like an editing challenge. But like, I think it kind of depends on their personality, because there's introverted people who like don't show their faces, and some of those people, there's this one girl named Eden, who I was like a YouTube friend with back in the day, and she was probably one of my favorite Let's Players because she didn't show her face, and the reason she told me for that, she was like, she thought it was like gimmicky and like kind of like you're not as like true to yourself because you're worrying about like everything going on up here and not just kind of like your base reaction. And I always respected that. But then there's people who are on screen and like use that to be like more wacky or whatever. So it kind of just goes onto your personal, like what you look for in that type of content.
I suppose. I mean, I can understand wanting to do it with like scary jump scare games, like Five Nights at Freddy's and whatever, those kinds of games. Like I can understand, like, haha, that person got scared and I want to see them be scared.
I feel like that, like after you've seen 2 of those videos, though, you're just kind of
right. Like same. Like I watched one Five Nights at Freddy's video and I was like, okay,
I want to see them cry. I want to see them play The Last of Us beginning and get teary eyed. I was like, is that real? Like
Is that a real tear?
Is that a real tear? You playing this up?
But for games like, even Last of Us, like that, or, playing Call of Duty or Battlefield or strategy, whatever game, like, I don't need to see your reactions to stuff. Like, just let me watch you play the game.
90% of people are just kind of like, they're just out of it.
I've
they're just
filmed
focusing on the game.
myself playing games before to show to one of my exes, just to be like, this is how, like, not in touch with reality I am. And
what is that supposed to mean?
It was just a joke. She's like, what do you do all night? Why do you stay up so late playing World of Warcraft? And I'm like, this is literally what it looks like.
It's just you.
Pretty much, yeah, like hunched over in the
minutes.
dark and the flashing lights on the screen on my face. And
It's not comfortable, by the way. Like, you gotta imagine, like, these 2 lights in here, I had those on me, hot as hell. You're worrying about what you look like and the game. Like, you gotta have, like, 5 things going on at once.
you gotta be worried about all the things that
and you gotta worry. You're playing a video game. You're supposed to enjoy yourself, and you're worrying about like all these other things. Like I know a lot of people, like if their favorite game comes out, they're like, I'm not doing a Let's Play. I'm gonna play the game beforehand by myself. Fuck you guys, and then I'll do a Let's Play.
Yeah, maybe it's just that reaction thing, like. But
2019 problem.
I think it does go back to the person, like what kind of person they are. If you can tell they're more enjoyable not being on the screen, or if they're more enjoyable to have them on the screen,
Yeah.
you know, you're gonna watch them because of that.
Yeah, the best kind of people are like those people who just pick up the camera and go, and then they're just super comfortable. Especially if they have like a good community and everything.
Mm-hmm.
Like for me, it's not natural at all. Like when I try to do that, so like I think that's something I should stray away from, if anything.
Yeah, I get that. There's a specific YouTuber that I watch who does a lot of like vlogs where he'll go to theme parks in Florida. He lives in Orlando, and he'll do the whole Disney Universal and go to Busch Gardens and all these. And that's, you know, I watch those videos with my girlfriend sometimes, and she'll be like, what kind of life is it like to live with a camera in your face constantly?
No, yeah, let me guess. He looks super natural being out in public.
He's
filming
just
himself,
walking like my girlfriend and I went to Target
Is
one
it
night.
like a
and
camera, like a cell phone camera, or like
it's
a full-on?
It's like an
huge-
actual like legit camera with like a nice mounted fuzzy covered
Oh
microphone. and
god.
he's walking around with it like I said, I know the audience can't see my visual gag here, but I was, you know, walking through Target one night with my girlfriend, and I pulled my phone out and just said, like, Target vlog, as we're walking through, and she's like, oh my god, I can't imagine, like, constantly living your life on camera. Like, he, you know, like, as I said, he lives in Florida, he goes to Disney and Universal and all those places, and I'm sure that looks pretty natural there, because that's a pretty common thing, I imagine, of people going and vlogging at Disney, because it's Disney.
Mm-hmm.
But like when you're doing it like at home, like, oh, I'm doing some DIY at home today, let me show you what that was, or like, we're going to Target, or we're making this at home tonight, and just constantly that. Like I don't think I could do it, honestly.
I got a buddy from high school who did YouTube, and I've talked to him like through comments and stuff. I didn't like know him in high school, but I knew he started doing YouTube. And when Destiny 2 came out, we went to the midnight release. And I just see this guy, like, and he's got, like, 3 friends and a big-ass camera. And then they're, like, doing shots, like, around the GameStop. And I'm just sitting in the car, like, I know this is going to go on YouTube. I was like, and, like, props to him, like, acting super natural about it. And, like, again, for those types of people, like, for people who do that for their job, they're like, I'm out here making money. Like, I'm not worried about what these people think. If they ask me, I'll be like, yeah, this is my job.
Yeah, I feel
Just
like
talking
if
to
I
his
was,
camera
like,
at Target is my job.
The cashier at like the GameStop that he was in or something, just be
Right.
like watching this, like, what the heck, really?
Yeah,
Really?
he's really good about this specific person that I watch is really good about like not putting anyone on camera who doesn't want to be on camera. Like I had mentioned to you before we started talking about this like guilty pleasure idea of like things that we enjoy doing that are kind of our little escape from reality. And this guy is like who I watch to do that because he's super like PC and not in like an overly cringy way, but he's like just super nice and soft spoken and like really chill, and he
doesn't
never
feel forceful.
swears. Yeah, he's like he's genuinely enjoying going to Disney for like the umpteenth hundredth time because he's got an annual pass, so he's there, you know, once a week at least.
Oh my gosh. To afford that.
Well, it's really not that expensive.
If you live in
It
Florida,
is
you
when-
also
when
get a
we
huge
don't live
discount. Yeah.
Right, if you don't live there, I mean, yeah. Speaking of which, I was driving around today and I saw someone with annual pass stickers in our town driving around, and I was like, really? Like, why?
Just to save that little extra. I mean, if you go
guess
like maybe
so.
every month, no, that's so
Even
much
that.
driving though.
It is. I mean, obvious. You know, like living there. Like when I looked it up, it was only like I know prices have gone up since then. About like maybe $1,000, $1,200 for the annual pass to Disney, and that's like all 4 parks and the water parks. And all the
Disney
crap
is
that
so rich, dude. Like all their
Heck
movies
yeah.
make $1 billion.
Yeah.
Like if they don't make $1 billion, like
You know, they charge for parking now. Like they get you when you park your car
You don't
at a
have anywhere-
resort at Disney.
that just
You have to pay for it.
you have to get in there. You have to park there. It's ridiculous. That
And so you
is
have to pay
obviously-
for it. Unless you fly, then you can take the bus. But
Or if you have like the weird hotel experience thing.
or that, I guess. But
But that
you
costs
gotta
money too.
pay to park your car.
Yeah.
That's crazy to me.
How do you know how much it is?
It's depending on like the level. Like I don't.
The level? There's
the-
levels?
Okay, yes, because if you're they have like 3 different tiers of resorts there. They've got like their high-end deluxe stuff, which is up to like the 500 plus a night. You got kind of your mid tier that's like the 200 to the 400, 499. You got like your lower tier, which is usually under $200 a night. And depending on there, I think it's like 11 for the low tier, 15 for mid, and like 19 for the high end. So, and then if you're staying for like a week, you know, that's on top of all the
Oh, you have to
stuff
pay
that
per
you're on.
day?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Every day you're there, you have to pay.
That's...
I'm pretty sure I had to pay for parking when I went to Universal.
Did you stay? You didn't? Did you stay?
No, I didn't
Yeah,
stay there.
same.
I just went there for the day.
Yeah.
But, like, you gotta think from kind of their perspective, because they're obviously all, like, city folk. And if you're a city person, you're used to, like, oh, I gotta go to the mall today. I gotta whip out $30 to park. I gotta... that kind of stuff.
I suppose, but
Like, if
this
you're,
is
like, in a
not-
New York type place, you're gonna
Right,
spend
well, that I understand.
stupid money.
But this is like at their resorts. This isn't like driving up to the Magic Kingdom and like swiping your card at the gate and parking like at the Magic Kingdom. I mean, like if you drive from where we are to there in your personal vehicle and you park at the resort, it's like, okay, we're gonna charge you per day to park your car at the resort, which, you know, you've been there. I don't think you've stayed on property, but if you stay on property, you get access to they're like around the complex shuttle service, which is free. I guess not now because you have to pay to park your car, which I guess goes into that whole, like, using their internal, you know, monorail and their bus system and stuff like that. But
I haven't been since I was a little kid.
Yeah.
I don't know any of this stuff.
I went.
it's changed.
I went
man.
this year, I
It's
believe.
changed.
Was it this year?
I can't even remember.
I remember
I
that
don't
was
think it was. I think it was last year.
I remember
went,
through
but I don't
photos
know.
and through my parents saying, though, that I was like one of the only kids that enjoyed the big, like, Winnie the Pooh characters coming over and you'd be like, hi, how you doing? And I was like, oh my gosh, it's Piglet.
I went as a full
God,
adult.
it's Pooh.
Because I've gone twice now. The first year, the characters that are walking around, the only ones I saw were Pooh and Tigger, and there's just a picture of me like walking up to one of them. I'm just like, it's
Winnie the Pooh was my shit.
like I love Disney and like hate it for like being like this corporate. Like a part of you, like, as there's like all these tourists, all these like
Yeah.
kids, parents with their stroller fights. Like part of me hates that, but like part of me is like, no, I love all these movies.
That brings me into a story of a coworker. That one of our coworkers is in love with Disney,
Oh yeah.
and another coworker.
Are you talking
Shout
about
out.
the potential one that will be on this podcast? Maybe
Potentially.
potentially.
Yeah, the one that likes
A
Disney, but
certain-
the other one.
Hates it. Yeah, and they get into kind of
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So one day they were talking about Frozen, and
the one who hates it also hates like anime and all those things.
She hates
and her
everything.
her
It's
argument
fun.
is it's kitty, which is like the most third grade argument I've ever heard.
Which is kind of ironic
Listen,
coming from her.
I'm an
who
adult,
acts
I
like
pay
a
my bills.
15-year-old as it is.
Yeah.
So.
anyways, they were getting into it in the kitchen, and so the one that loves Disney, she starts walking away, and the one that hates it just yells throughout the whole kitchen, and Disney also is a Nazi sympathizer.
I remember
And
that.
I'm
I
just
think I was
sitting
there.
there, just like, what? You can just yell that at the top of your lungs and not get like called into an office to like talk about this?
Yeah, I think I mentioned this too, but I'll bring it back up for the podcast. Like, again, that part of me that like knows it's like an evil corporate thing, like hates it, but like a part of me like thinks if I like didn't associate with any evil corporations, I wouldn't have clothes, I wouldn't have good movies to watch, I wouldn't have I wouldn't have a job. I consider our corporation evil enough that like I'd be like, whoa, morals. But
It's the principle of the matter.
yeah, exactly. I don't think you can like really live in America without like being a part of some kind of evil corporation.
Unless you
Yeah.
make all your own clothes,
Self-sufficient, like
food,
truly
basically,
self-sufficient.
yeah. Living in a woods.
Be an Amish. You can
Yeah.
do it.
Yeah.
That would.
You can do it. Just join it.
There
But-
you go.
But
Do
isn't
you want to?
I was gonna say, but a lot of those counties,
maybe.
those communities aren't like letting people leave a lot of the time when they want to.
Yeah.
Some of them, very few. But like that's kind of an evil group.
Yeah,
If they're-
it's
true.
called-
True.
But so
you don't
I
know what those people are doing out there.
Yeah.
They could be eating. They could cannibalize each other for all you know.
Alabama. But in Ohio.
But it's I say this to people who, as Soul said, like, you know, I don't want to be a part of I don't want to be a part of the evil corporation, evil government, and this and that, and like I got to stand up and rebel against this and that because it's morally wrong. It's like, what point do you kind of accept that that's just the way things are and they're going to be, and enjoy life? And then at what point do you like hold on to your principle of like not wanting to support this? Because for me, I feel like I get it. I understand why people would, you know, want to fight Walmart, Disney, any other mega corporation that's bad to their employees and whatever. But like, at what point do you just go like, you know what, like, there's nothing I can do about it. So I mean, I guess I can't support them, but that's not going to stop like 1,500 other Americans from going and shopping at Walmart within an hour.
Unfortunately, I guess I have to use the vegan argument, where it's like supply and demand. How like the more that people are turning like vegan, the demand for meat is actually going down pretty recordly.
Okay.
And
but
so like they're just killing less animals technically.
But at some point, like, how much money have you saved by having cheap clothes from China? Like, how much are you going to put yourself, like, how many pegs are you going to put yourself down for the sake of, because it's not like the entire entity is evil. It's not like everyone who works for Disney is evil. No, it's probably just like the system.
People like us that have to just live day by day.
Yeah, exactly.
You know?
It's the system and probably, you know, a decent amount of people up and down the ladder who are assholes. They're not, most of them aren't evil. There's just a lot of assholes in there. But that's in every profession, in every job. Those people need jobs. You gotta put them somewhere.
Yeah. I mean,
might as well make a wonderland for the people that can afford to go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I ran into a coworker earlier, an old coworker earlier today at the store, and I was kind of relaying my struggle of wanting to get out of our current job and go somewhere else. And I said, you know, I had kind of a grass is greener outlook, but after going through the motions of it all, I kind of realized, like, yeah, it sucks where we're at. But
shitty in most places, though.
That's kind of what he said too. Is like you got to pick and choose, like what you can get the most out of, as opposed to what you would, you know. It's that balancing act of where can I get the most for like the least amount of trouble, and where we are, I think,
like
kind of gives me the most.
Like my dad, I think it's a good like middle ground. He doesn't pay for Amazon Prime because they went up in price to $120, and I'm still using a student discount to be like $69 or something like that. But he still buys stuff from Amazon, but he's not going to pay them $120 extra just to get it early because he's retired, so it doesn't really matter. When it gets there, it gets there. So I think that's like a nice middle ground analogy to this.
It's the idea that I've tried to explain to people. One of my favorite books, called 48 Laws of Power by Robert Greene, I highly recommend it to anyone who's interested in history, because it gives a lot of good historical references to these like quote-unquote laws of how to conduct yourself in life to get ahead, essentially. But one of the things that the author talks about is this idea of time versus money. Like, what is more valuable to you, your time or saving a couple bucks?
Mm-hmm.
So, like, that's kind of how I've weighed things when it comes. That's why, like, I've always been a big advocate of flying. Like, yeah, flying is expensive as shit. But
you
like,
save a lot of time and
you
stress.
save a lot of time. Stress is, I guess, subjective in certain situations, because I've almost been late due to flights being late themselves and getting to my gate at giant airports. But it's, you know, like driving from, as we mentioned, from where we currently are to like Orlando to go to Disney, you know, almost a 10-hour drive versus like a 3-hour flight.
Mm-hmm.
You know, granted, you're going to be spending a heck of a lot more money, but then when you get there, you get there, you've only been on a plane for 3 hours, like, you're feeling good, you're not, like, haven't spent the entire day in a car, where you're just like, I'm done, just let me sit, not in a car, let me walk around for, like, 5 minutes.
Let me go to bed as soon as I get there.
Exactly.
Let me go to the park and now.
We've flown to Disney before, I think, my family and I, and
You think?
Honestly, I cannot remember.
I assume you were a small child if you can't remember.
No, I was probably in my early mid-teens.
Someone's blocking out some repressed memories.
Yeah,
then.
oh, you don't even know, friend. You don't even know. But I feel like we did, and we might have rented a car once we got like outside of there and driven the rest of the way. But it makes all the difference, honestly. Flying, like I advocate for it all the time when I can. I know it's expensive and not everyone can afford it. But the other thing, with driving is my dad's always been a big proponent of like renting a car before you go on a long driving trip, because then if anything happens to that car, it's not your personal car. You can just call whoever you rented it from and be like, hey, something's wrong with this car. I need a new one. And they'll be like, okay, we'll bring you a new one and we'll tow the old one away, and boom. Got a brand new car, but you also have to pay to rent the car and all that stuff,
And you'll be putting
all the miles on your car.
Yeah, those miles on your car.
All the extra stress on your car.
That one trip is equal to like dozens of times going to work.
Heck yeah. I think it's 700 miles ish, probably more. I don't even know. From where we are to Orlando.
I don't even know. I'm
I
going
don't
to
know
Orlando.
either.
I'm going to Orlando this week, and I don't even know.
So we're going in a couple months here, and I'm not even sure.
I'm not going to Disney though. I've already gone. I never went my entire life until like a year or two ago.
Oh yeah.
And now I've gone twice. It's weird.
Nice. It's good. My family used to go every year from the time I was like 13 until I was like 20.
I've done more traveling and like exploration stuff,
Could've gone to, like Europe or something.
Well, I know, but my parents are very comfortable with like things that they know.
But it's funny that they would go to Disney
every year
when their views do not align with.
Well, this was long ago before my father was radicalized, quote unquote. But
this is a rabbit hole I don't know about.
I'll have to tell you off the show, but
it's TDS.
That being said, should we get
Anyway.
into some of these segments now that we're 30 minutes in?
Let's get to some actual. Should we talk about? Maybe,
Well, we're on the subject of corporations, and it's kind of a
should we
segue?
it's a smart segue
segue into the conspiracies.
conspiracies.
And so this was a topic. I don't mean to steal my hosting. The host duty
Go ahead, because I feel very awkward being
from my
host.
from my co-host.
Don't worry,
quote unquote this week, but I had an idea earlier today, as recently I'm sure many of you have heard that Mr. Epstein has committed suicide, allegedly.
Break down who that is for everyone in the
Jeffrey-
audience, not me, who don't.
Yes.
Right, okay. So
No,
for
the
those
full
of you
story.
who have no
Definitely
idea,
knows
Jeffrey
who-
Epstein is a multi-billionaire, and I don't think anyone's really sure how he gained his billions and billions of dollars. I don't know.
I heard it was real estate, quote.
Maybe. I don't know. But anyway, Mr. Epstein was allegedly arrested. It wasn't allegedly, right? He was arrested. He was allegedly charged with
Sex traffic? Is this the
child sex trafficking.
Okay. I heard about this.
This is this fella.
Okay, I didn't know he was a
has a
billionaire.
little private. Oh, yes. His little private island off the coast of St. James, I believe, or it is on St. James, where
St.
all of
James.
these illegal activities were taking place. And Mr. Epstein was arrested coming back from France about 3 weeks ago, I want to say, taken into custody in Manhattan's federal prison, mind you. This place is a federal prison. This isn't run by the state of New York. This is run by the federal government. So it's a highly high security...
Big boy prison.
Basically, yes. Like, this is where they're keeping El Chapo currently, for reference of, like, how high security this place is. And he was sharing a cell with this roided out ex-cop. I don't know his name, but he apparently was in there for, like, murdering 4 people and burying them in his backyard, as I heard. So Epstein...
So nothing too bad.
I get it. Depends who you are, I guess.
It's just a mass shooting.
Yeah.
Your average mass shooting in
Just
America.
your average...
4 people, that's like...
It's not
That's
too bad.
one bad day.
I thought it was 5.
That's like 1 week in Chicago.
Yeah. 1 week. 24-hour cycle.
That's like
bro.
a morning in Detroit.
Oh my god. Okay.
Anyway.
In shit Congo. Anyway. So he's sharing a cell with this fella. Why he wasn't in solitary confinement isolation, no one knows. But about a week ago, he alleges that someone tried to kill him. Never specifies who, just kind of in passing. It's like, yeah, someone tried to kill me. When this could have happened, no one knows, because Mr. Epstein managed to stay out of his jail cell for roughly 12 hours a day because he was having constant meetings with various lawyers.
Oh, you're talking about the first time he was arrested.
No, this is this current time.
No, what? No, he was charged before, not
I
with
know.
sex trafficking, but he was able to, like, only be in jail, like, 12 hours a day. for
Right,
that
so
year.
he's doing essentially the same thing. I didn't know that he had pulled this before. I just heard this last night. But he was managing to stay out of
I didn't know this would
jail,
happen again.
quote unquote, because these federal prisoners are allowed 1 hour a day to meet with their attorney outside of the it's within the prison, but it's not like it's not outside the prison. Private meeting space. So we had 12 different attorneys coming and going every hour on the hour that allowed him to perpetually stay in this conference room outside of his cell. So he had all those 12 hours a day where people were having eyes on him.
And he was
paying
paying
attention to him.
them to obviously keep
Of course,
coming back.
of course. And so that's where this conspiracy kind of begins, is if this man killed himself, yet he then made an attempt on his life, quote unquote, they say, a week prior to him actually killing himself. I guess
How
2
long was he
weeks
in
now.
prison for?
He has been I believe he was arrested on the...
How much longer did he have? Or was he in there for like...
He was waiting
awaiting
to go
trial.
to trial.
Okay.
He had been in there, I think, maybe, I'm going to say from sometime mid-July or like late July. I don't know exactly when he was arrested and placed in there, but I guess about 2 weeks ago now.
The overarching conspiracy to this was that he was flying off all these other billionaires to the island and all these big politicians.
He was allowing other people to partake
And
in the
one of the-
forbidden fruit of young women.
And then
that
they
he was-
assumed that he was blackmailing these people.
Or that he knew if convicted, given the circumstance,
He would
be offered perhaps a plea deal to give out names of these other billionaires and co-conspirators to reduce his sentence by giving the names of the others. So there's plenty of reason why some people might want him dead. However, this is a federal prison. There are cameras literally all over the place. This guy had eyes on him 12 hours a day where he wasn't in a jail cell. And so, as I was alluding to, about a week ago, he, quote-unquote, made an attempt on his life. Now, I don't know how much you guys know about suicide watch and stuff, but generally when a person is on suicide watch, they're on
Heavily
for
monitored. Heavy
constantly. They have rotating guards every 15 minutes come and check on him. 2 different guards, like one every 15 minutes, for 24 hours a day. And this is mandatory for 2 weeks. And after those 2 weeks, it is then up to the prison psychiatrist, psychologist to determine via counsel if they believe this person should be taken off suicide watch or not. Now, they hadn't gotten to that point. And I guess they, at some point someone screwed up, and apparently the cameras that were in the vicinity of Epstein's cell that could see anyone coming going allegedly stopped working for 2 minutes.
If that's the case, I'm gonna assume how he dies, how most people would die in prison, and that's either a guard was being really rough on him, he could have, actually killed himself, but guards being rough on him, prison mates, murdering him, and they wanted to look like a safe place, so they make it look. That's the easiest thing, is just say he killed himself. People die in prison all the time from stuff like that.
Right.
drugs being smuggled in.
But again, this is a maximum security, like, high profile, not just like a state of New York prison. This is like a federal prison.
And he's basically in solitary confinement.
Well, he
It's
wasn't,
not.
but you know, you would have thought that him being the meek little 65-year-old man that he was,
Oh, he's a 65.
sharing a cell with
Well, he's pretty fragile.
this roided out cop would be like, you know, I don't know if the cop had this ex-cop had anything to do with it. I haven't heard his name mentioned once. I know what his name is, I just can't remember. It's something very
I don't see
Italian.
why he wouldn't kill himself, though, if you're a 65-year-old man
I
in
mean,
prison for sex
unless
trafficking.
there was something, allegedly, that he knew that others
Didn't want getting out.
didn't want getting out.
There you go.
Now that's where the conspiracy begins.
And
Is who would, like, as I alluded to before, like all these other, as Shaboy said, all these other billionaires, politicians, presidents possibly,
namely the Clintons. Bill
indeed, namely
Clinton,
the
at
Clintons. I've seen a lot of that, like a lot of memes saying if you were surprised about the Jeffrey Epstein suicide, just imagine how surprised he was.
Obviously, this is a rabbit hole that goes much farther down
Indeed,
than I
and
realized.
it's very early, and Lord knows what's going to come of this. You know,
Well,
maybe this guy did commit suicide.
From what I
That's-
heard, and this is just the
that
internet,
camera thing, if that's true, though,
Um,
that's very...
they're
That
just
is
gonna
true.
drop the
It
case.
just keeps getting, and I mean, it's not just, it's a bipartisan issue at this point where you've got people from both sides of the aisle. Like, people on the left are trying to frame it, like they were trying to figure out a way how they could use this to fuck Trump. And then people on the right were doing the same thing, but they were trying to use this whole Epstein thing as a way to try to figure out how to fuck Clinton. Like,
Don't worry,
but
Clinton
now
doesn't
you've
need
got
help
people on,
getting fucked.
well,
But
people on both sides. Like, you've got AOC and one other very leftoid politician, like, saying, like, this is very suspicious. Like, I think we might need to do an investigation on this. And then you've got people on the right that are, you know, very right conservatives saying, like, okay, this is very bizarre circumstances. Maybe we should look into this. Like, this isn't like a pointing fingers issue. Like, this is something that people are very seriously like, okay, what happened and why did it happen?
Okay.
yeah,
So
that's the latest
that's
conspiracy.
kind of how this is unfolding, and we don't
Yeah.
we won't know much more until the
I didn't know if you were doing like a round table to see everyone's opinion. Mine is I don't know enough information.
see. That's, well, I was just kind of explaining it. We'll kind of lead into the topic that I had of, like, talking about other, like, well, I guess we'll start with
Moon landing, 9/11. We got
sure, yeah, moon landing, 9/11, the JFK assassination, going into then
aliens.
you know, aliens and the paranormal and cryptozoology. So we'll start with
Is this the conspiracy episode?
it
Officially?
might be.
The
It might be.
conspiracy episode.
Easy title. Dun-dun-dun-dun.
Wow.
Yeah,
That was some voice
I
crack.
went into it.
I can bust out that X-Files scene
That's
that
what I
I've
was
had in
attempting
my
to do.
computer for like all these years.
We'll see how long this topic lasts us, because it could be one of those things like, you know,
just explained it
we'll just
something
start now.
weird.
Like, we'll start with the paranormal. Like,
How about each of us choose their one conspiracy, and if we want to keep going after that,
Oh
we
God, there's so many.
Man. Yeah,
Benghazi.
yeah.
No,
There's the Benghazi. There's 9/11. Like, for me, I've always kind of been interested in
Osama.
conspiracies. You
Assassination.
know, I know one of the big ones that is
yeah,
going
whether it
around.
was even real.
Yeah, besides the
Ladies and gentlemen,
Was
Oh,
the
God.
Holocaust real? Is the Earth
Yeah.
flat?
you guys still believe in the moon?
yeah.
Oh, you guys think birds still exist?
I've been in a plane. The Earth looked flat to me. I didn't see the curvature of it.
Oh yeah.
This is all BS. But one of the other big conspiracies out there now, kind of floating around with the Area 51 thing, is the whole raiding of Area 51, because there's allegedly extraterrestrial craft and or beings being held in this secret military facility. What do you guys think of that? Is that...
Is that your one? You going for the
That's-
aliens?
No,
again?
I was just... It's a relevant one because a lot of people are talking.
A lot of people
I
are
would-
signing up.
A lot of people are quote-unquote signing up. I know Sol and I actually had a conversation about this over the weekend where we were having a lunch date. And
I had this conversation with Shaboy here too, where we're going into the logistics. If all these millions of people showed up for Area 51,
yeah.
like they gotta run for how much did I say? It was like 20 plus
28
some
miles. I think
28 miles that they gotta run.
It's
There's
like
not enough.
It's
hotels
like less
or
than a
food in
mile
the
if you're
area.
Naruto running though. Come
Yeah,
on.
that is true. That is true.
Desert. And I don't know if
Um,
you guys have been out in that western desert, but it gets up to like 120 degrees
It's
out
a
there.
dry heat. Come on.
Yeah.
You guys are not putting faith into
No
these
food,
runners.
not enough hotels.
Sleep in
The
your
second
car.
they see a guy just with an assault rifle, half of them are gonna turn around.
Maybe like it
Um,
was just a meme.
Now,
They'll,
if it
they'll
were
see an
like-
electric fence and be like,
Now, if it was like a
can Naruto jump over this?
I would imagine. Going fast enough up a hill.
Yeah.
Like,
Now with,
man,
like-
I've never seen an episode of Naruto in my life. I'm gonna just.
I'd say
preface
hypothetically, let's say that like Georgia, the state of Georgia, sponsors this Naruto run thing with like their National Guard. I think
It's like a
it'd
marathon.
be a little bit more, yeah. It'd be a little bit more skeptical of this actually
Little lemonade
happening.
stands on the way up there.
Exactly. Like they roll in tanks that are like behind the Naruto runners.
Yeah, friends and families on the sidelines with signs. You got this. You beat cancer. You can beat this race. You can beat
Oh
these
my
aliens.
God. Beat them, clap them alien cheeks.
Oh God.
Do you guys believe that there are aliens inside Area 51?
Inside specifically Area 51.
Yes. Do you specifically believe there are aliens at Area 51?
I'm gonna say no, Chief. This ain't it.
How about
That's
you?
what I said. I'm gonna
How about
stick with
you?
my answer. I say no aliens, no UFOs, nothing extraterrestrial other than some shady government aircraft projects that we know nothing and are not privy to.
Whoa, now government aircraft projects and like government testing things. I believe that part, but not
That's
alien
when
versions.
we talked the other day. That's basically where I arrived at. So it's gonna be 3 no's on the aliens.
Now
But-
are they up to something?
Do
They
you
up to
believe?
something?
Just to go on to aliens, do you believe
Yeah.
aliens have been on this planet? Do you believe this is a
Mm.
conspiracy? Me and my brother, way back in the day, talked about that. Aliens, because I think we watched some kind of one of those national history, like, probably
Ancient
bullshit
aliens.
things. But it made a strong case that aliens, could be going from, like, planet to harvest. I can tell right away that's a no. Just to harvest humans or whatever other type of species as
Oh, as like a test subject thing.
test subjects, future beneficial things, like if we make cool technology or something. Just like in the same way that we would like take a colony, for example, like they could be like even other aliens could be our ancestors. I don't know. It was a deep rabbit hole. It was one of those.
Of course it is.
But just as an example of a way, the pyramids, the other thousands
Right.
of reasons people think aliens have been on this planet before. Stonehenge.
You want me to go
Oh
first?
man, I like thinking about like the past stuff, like with the Great Pyramids and everything. That would be like a very plausible thing about aliens being here. But currently, like there has to be a straight up like secret globalist government already instilled to keep that as a secret that there are aliens watching us. Because you're talking about like hacking global grids of telecommunications and like any project that like has to look out with a telescope cannot see these aliens.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know about
They have cloaking things. They could have technology you don't even understand.
I mean, yeah, obviously
They just
could
paint
do
their
that,
ship
but-
some kind of color you've never seen before, and you
Yeah,
can't
just
see
paint
it.
see through, and then
paint it see-through.
Just paint it black with a couple white dots. They're like, oh
There
yeah,
you
see
go.
those stars up
be
there?
like, man, those are some beautiful sky. And holy shit, they're moving. A whole
It's
group
just a
of them
shooting
just moving
star.
at once. Like,
Mm.
I don't know if you've seen the Disney Chicken Little movie, how they've got the, like, he's, you know, like, oh, well, it's a beautiful night, and he's hitting the head with, like, one of the panels that fell off the ship, and he, like, holds it up, and then it, like, it's got this technology that can blend, kind of like chameleon, where it can blend in with, like, whatever the background of it is.
Oh yeah, I vaguely remember that.
Kind of like that. It's like, oh, shit, we lost the panel. Someone go down there and get it.
So, Shaboy, is that a no or is that a yes?
That's a definitely a more yes if it was in the past, but no for now.
But we all here do believe that aliens exist. You're the only like full-on religious one, so if anyone should be like iffy about it,
That's God. It's not aliens. God helped them build the pyramid.
Okay.
because in the Bible,
I don't
Bible
mean to
The
make
Bible
fun.
does not say no.
it
to
does not say
aliens,
no, but like,
but it does not say there could not.
but it also says things along the lines of like when Earth goes, like that version of heaven goes, like it makes like the assumption that like it's like this one like endless cycle of just one entity, like one.
Like Earth is alone, basically.
Yeah, I know a lot of religious people don't believe in aliens.
Yeah,
the sake of
a lot of my pastors didn't. I'd say God is all-knowing and all-powerful, so if he wants to make some fucking aliens, he's gonna make them goddamn aliens. You can't just say, like, God, you're not... Sorry, we're the ones that only. And God's just gonna look at you like, I guess I'm bound by your mortal ideas of me.
Not to like
So, like-
disrespect certain religious groups, but like,
If God wants to make some fucking aliens, he's gonna make some more aliens, you
Yeah.
know? And if they're gonna come wipe out...
what's the point of making all these galaxies if you're not
why?
gonna fill it up?
Why not? What's the point?
All right.
I mean, yes, Bible says the earth is for humans, like, we're supposed to take care of it, but it's for us. But that doesn't mean that Saturn can't be for, I don't know,
Glop.
Glib Glop.
The Mr. Poopy Butthole Race.
Mr. Poopy.
Ugh.
Shout out to Rick and Morty season 4 coming in. Oh, we're gonna cover the shit out of this on this podcast. I hope you guys know.
Mm.
Oh, now Swoogie doesn't like
Mm.
Rick and Morty.
Well, it's just gonna be me and your boy here then.
Yep.
You'd be the
Soul and I.
two kitchen bitches tonight.
Mhm.
The third is on moral principle decided not to join us.
Yep, he's just...
I'll see you guys an hour in.
Are you guys
Joining us
done?
mid-
But,
Show.
what was the point I was trying to make? Going back to the
Aliens.
a lot. There's like certain religious people who like don't believe like in dinosaurs because that contradicts the
Mhm.
Bible. So it depends on how literally are you going to take the Bible and how literally are you going to take that story.
To say that, like,
If you think
how they
beat for
don't believe
beat
in dinosaurs, they believe that Satan just put fossil bones there to
To-
trick
yeah, exactly.
humans.
To
Ridiculous.
or God put it there to challenge their belief and their
There's
faith.
a lot. I'm not saying like, oh, this is defining, but there's like carbon dating. There's some wacky like numbers
mean,
people
if
have
you're-
been getting with like things that are alive or have recently died that carbon date 100 or plus years ago, like that they were supposed to be dead for.
Yeah, but you also have to
But, you know,
consider
there's-
human errors, like people like not getting their facts
Exactly.
straight.
Like there's like a lot of fossil record bones that like are in museums that are like, we don't know if these dinosaur bones connect to each other realistically.
They're just putting bones
They're
together.
kind of
Yeah,
they
kind of.
like a
I
lot
can
of
see
them.
that.
But who knows? You know, it's all human error. We're you know.
Exactly.
So if God wanted us to know about dinosaurs, he would have done it. But
Yeah.
other than that,
But like people who like fully believe in religion, like are taking it like to the, like if you're gonna look at the Bible as like a history book, then I don't know if you're gonna like find like a way to believe that, or if you're just like casually like, yeah, like, well, God is gonna test our faith, so he's gonna put up some obstacles. But like it's hard for me to relate to those ideals. Shwoogie here. I don't think you answered the alien question.
yeah.
Mathematically, I'm gonna get some science.
But do you believe in aliens, and do you believe they've been on this planet?
It's only a yes or no
Oh,
question,
man.
man.
Now, I've been a big fan of the idea of extraterrestrial for a very long time. I've been very much into reading stories about abductions and UFO sightings and watching all the videos. And there was that very famous video where that guy had the alien supposedly pop up in his window and like look around like, what's going on here, and then run away.
Wasn't there a movie where they were like, they were just doing acting, but then they also showed footage?
Signs, maybe. Mel Gibson. I don't know. That's what you're talking about.
Yeah.
But, or Cloverfield. No.
No. Where they showed original footage of like this woman who was getting like paranoid because
You're talking about the fourth kind?
That's
Maybe.
it, I think. What he's talking about.
I don't know if
It
it's
abducts
spoiler,
her
but
son and then abducts like the cop or something.
Close Encounters of the Third Kind, I think is what you're talking about. But it doesn't have any like actual quote unquote footage in it. It's just a story where these people are getting these like
No, it's just the
bizarre-
mom.
I'm
The
gonna
mom
explain
and it's
the
a house
plot of
that's in
the.
the woods, and the alien abducts her son, and
Maybe
it
that is
shows
the
original
kind.
footage of her being like interviewed, like the real person,
I think that's
and like it shows the like
That's the fourth
ship and all
kind.
that stuff,
Yeah.
and then it goes back to like them acting out.
movie.
Yeah, that's the fourth kind,
original thing.
which
Yeah.
is all made up footage.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. It
Oh,
was,
well, that just
Which,
ruined my day.
No, when me and my brother was super into aliens, we thought that movie was real.
Oh,
there was like
that-
one point where we
that
looked
sucks,
at each
though.
other and we were like, but to
Especially
prove
with
how
the-
bullshit that movie
The
is, there's
ship
a
coming
point.
over.
Yeah, there's a point where there's just a big ass UFO just over a house. It's just straight up footage of a UFO.
Exactly.
Over a house.
And the
I'm like,
cops
okay.
freaking out, like, what the fuck?
Yeah, and then it cuts to static, and it's at that point I was like, okay, nobody knows about it. This like this movie team just
Man,
happened
I
to
got
get this footage, and they're like, oh, let's make a movie out of it. Like
Man.
it didn't get in anybody else's hands on the way.
Yeah.
That ruins
everyone
it for
else
me.
everyone else has been like was just like, no, this isn't real, but actually it was.
Well, me and my naive self.
Yeah.
Like yeah, they had like that woman. They like made her face stretch and all the. She doesn't look like that. Like,
Yeah, okay. Just making sure. Okay.
But mathematically speaking, I'll get to my answer here in a minute. The universe is ever expanding, constantly
As far as we
expanding
know.
outwards.
As far as we know.
As far as we know, yes. Mathematically, it is highly improbable that we are the only race that has evolved, the only planet of habitable species that has evolved beyond amoeba, allegedly. It's the word of the day.
It's highly
Allegedly.
improbable, or it's
highly improbable that we are the only
So
saying that
there
there
are
are
all-
other they're in
He's
some
saying there's probably aliens because in all of that universe, how is there not?
mathematically speaking,
Mathematically,
yes.
I've heard the opposite.
I mean,
That because of how much it takes, how much
no,
chance it takes.
this is a good. Do you want to finish or do you want me to?
I was just saying, I'm gonna just say that I'm gonna go ahead and as much as I like the idea of like aliens and stuff like that, and it like creeps me out, and I like to see all the abductions and UFO this and that, movies like Close Encounters of the Third Kind, War of the Worlds, The Fourth Kind, and Signs and all those. As much as I like that stuff, like I'm gonna go ahead and say no. No to the alien question.
No in the belief or no to being on. the
Yeah,
planet?
no to be on Earth and ever seen and all that stuff. Like it's fun to think about and like I'm really into it, but like
Well, then how can you say no with all this science?
on Earth.
He's saying there hasn't been any on Earth.
Oh, they're out there. You just don't
Possibly
can't.
out there.
That's a cop out ass
That's
answer.
a cop out.
Maybe it is.
Do you even think they're out there?
Not really, I guess. So no, I'm gonna go ahead and no with everything then.
All right. I am gonna go under the belief that 100% aliens exist. Going off of what they said earlier, yes, to make life possible, it has to be like a stupid amount of coincidences that did happen with Earth. There has to be the right amount of atmosphere. There has to be the right amount of proximity to the sun and the right amount of let's make sure that planet doesn't accidentally slam into the sun and doesn't get hit by these asteroids and all these other things. But
Like that one asteroid that came in like 44,000
yeah.
miles.
Yeah. But mathematically, we're talking about never-ending amount of everything. I am fully believe that there's probably trillions and trillions of amount of aliens that we just don't even know about, but they are so far away that we can't comprehend how far away they are. Do I believe that they have been to this planet? Not at all. I think that we as humans are we're storytellers and we're obviously, always thinking about these kind of things. So obviously we're going to even convince ourselves that we've seen things we haven't seen.
Mm-hmm.
If aliens had been to this planet, it was probably in the billions of years before life got here. Definitely before humans got here, like 10,000 years ago. And even if they have been to this planet, they were probably like, they're either primitive enough that they would like be stupid and like make contact with us, or they're advanced to the point that they see us on a telescope and they're like, yep, that's just another 1 in a trillion. And I'm not gonna.
Nothing special.
Like, you guys think I'm gonna contact every single planet filled with, like, I think
A
probably
bunch of warmongers over there.
yeah, like why would I waste my time? And if they have that kind of technology, they're on some future shit that we literally don't understand. And
Why
it's
would
scary
we
to
want them
think about.
talking to us? Because they might just blow us up.
They would be like, how can you guys even comprehend what we're saying? We're thinking telepathically or some stuff.
Hey Jim, just send the missile out. Just
So they'd be
blow
like,
it up
oh yeah,
for
these
fun."
mouse things we used to have. How do we get those working again so we can communicate with these monkeys?
We've evolved too well.
Yeah, so no,
Wow.
I don't think they've been on Earth. Yes, I believe they're out there though. Aliens.
Aliens.
I'm just thinking of that one meme where he's like, aliens.
Aliens.
Dude, there was a commercial for that show, and it literally was. It looked like a forest, but it was zooming out of his fucking hair, and it just and it popped up and it was like ancient aliens. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
That was your commercial?
There's like, I've watched some of those documentaries, like some where it's like scientific proof of aliens, and I've never, like, as convincing as it is to like play creepy music with like these eyewitness testimonies of a farmer out in Pennsylvania, I've never heard anything that has made me like fully convinced. Like, the best I've heard is like, oh, on these ancient paintings on the wall, it looks like oxygen masks. I was like, it's probably just a fucked up drawing.
Mm-hmm.
They made a lot of them. They were just scribbling at walls trying to remember shit.
The best I heard was about like a gold tablet, I think, that was sent out into space, and it had like a written like basically binary code of like zeros and ones of like what Earth is, and then like a song, and then like I guess days later it got a response, but like I don't even
Like
remember enough about it.
Like a radio signal kind of response, or like a...
Like a response that was very specific to what was written
Okay.
on that tablet. But other
No, I've
obviously,
heard
like,
of... No, I think I've heard of that. I just can't remember the details for the life of me.
Yeah, it's one of those things, like what you guys were, I was going to bring that point up earlier of this whole idea of when people go to look at these ancient
the
like
Voyager
carvings
Golden Record.
in ruins, in hieroglyphs of like, oh, it's this bright light in the sky that's shining down and bringing good fortune and all this stuff. And people are just, it's one of those things where almost a religious thing where like kind of Scientologists will be like, oh, this was, like
Oh no,
provided by
a Rakibo message on this thing. Sorry.
is that thing
I'm
from
just-
like 19 I don't know what that is. What is that?
I don't know. It's nothing. Don't worry about it.
I know
It's
the
a thing.
audience
It's a
can't
thing.
see that, but
Yeah. Here, audience.
is it one of those things that's like
You better
quote
screenshot
unquote-
that.
quote unquote
Shwoogy's editing this. Send that to him.
I could.
quote unquote damning evidence that aliens exist.
Okay. The Rakibo message is a 1974 interstellar radio message carrying basic information about humanity and Earth, sent to globular star cluster M13 in the hopes, blah 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 blah. And it got a reply basically.
Is that the one that got that message back, that various tone or whatever?
Yeah, I think so.
I was gonna
but
bring-
I was confusing it as with the Voyager Golden Record, which is
Right.
just a record of
Humanity.
yeah.
Before we jump into other conspiracies, I think this is a question about aliens. What's the most realistic alien movie you guys have seen, or story in general? Could be a video game, like some that made you go like, yeah, that sounds right.
That's what aliens would do.
Yeah, like some kind of probable, like, because that's ideally like what these films are always trying to do, like make the most realistic scenario.
Mm-hmm. I would say for me probably Close Encounters of the Third Kind. I don't know if you guys have
I haven't seen that one.
seen that before, but it's it was that movie that I mentioned earlier that I was like, that must be the movie you're talking about. because
Was it like a found footage style like alien
no,
thing?
it was
I've never
done.
heard of it.
I think it was Steven Spielberg directed it, but it's this movie where a few people are getting these like images kind of beamed into their head, and I won't spoil it, but they're getting these like images of.
Spoil it. Just a big spoiler.
Well,
Here you go.
yeah,
Skip ahead.
Skip ahead 2 minutes. Skip ahead 5 minutes if you don't want to hear the spoilers.
Of a movie that's probably what, like at least a decade old, if not
Yeah,
longer.
it is from like 1989 or 1990. It's pretty
There
old.
you go.
but-
You've been warned. It's your own fault, like mine, to not.
So
see
these
this
people
movie.
are getting these like I can't really remember. It's been a while, but these people are getting these
I
like.
can still hear him. I got the
So-
headphones
yeah.
in.
Yeah, he's got the headphones in, covering his ears.
I don't care.
Getting these images beamed into their heads. It's called the Devil's Landing or the Devil's Platform. That's not exactly what it's called, but it's something akin to that. This large rock mound in the middle of some Midwestern state. And these people are getting this image like they need to go there for some reason.
Is this just like people from across the countries?
No, it's people in that area, and then they, like you were saying, that message, they send out this message. They've been playing this like ominous tone of like a classic piece of music. Like they started like the whole like knock, 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 and then they've been getting a reply to that. And I guess the aliens had sent these coordinates for on top of this large pillar of rock, that's where they were going to land, and it becomes this whole big thing where they land, and then, you know, the Earth people are like, oh my god, and they send that message out again, and they reply outside from the ship, and then the doors open on the ship, and then all the little gray men come out, and then, like, people from missing air platoons from, like, 1945 that have gone missing
I think I've seen that scene of
come
them coming
out of the ship, and then they're like, oh, I don't know what year it is. Like now it's like 1990. It's like, and they're still like young as they were back then, and like Amelia Earhart like comes out of there. It's like really weird kind of, and then like a little boy gets abducted and he comes running out of the ship, and like the aliens are all chill and they're super friendly. Like they're not threatening or anything, but it's really kind of like disturbing to like. I don't know about you guys, but like aliens.
What's the point of this movie? What's the conflict?
I can't remember. I told you it was a long time ago. But
This
aliens
sounds
have always kind of
painfully-
freaked me out on like a level of that like nothing else really has. A very disturbing, like deep lizard brain kind of level. It has disturbed me like ever since I was a little boy and saw E.T. for the first time, and like I
the more
loved
you
E.T.
think-
as a
oh
kid.
my god, it scared the living Jesus
Oh, I
out
loved
of
E.T.
me.
I watched E.T. like
Oh
100
my God,
times.
Really?
I
Scared
wa-
you?
He was
when I
adorable.
when I was a
He
kid-
made some weird noises though. I do remember I was freaked out for like a scene or two.
Like right, I'm even thinking about
I was
it
freaked
now,
out by
my
the
heart's
guys in
like,
white
da-da-da-da.
suits. Like
I
there was,
didn't-
when he got abducted, I was afraid of the humans who were like in
No
those
way,
weird
man.
lab suits.
That ET like.
I can
scares
understand
me
like
every
the
time.
beady eyes, like people like coming into your room and like beaming you up, and, like they're just like
Even thinking
watching
about it
you
now,
sleep
like I
and
said,
just-
it's like I'm gonna be
I mean-
laying in bed tonight, like staring at the ceiling. and
Aliens
hear,
is like
a
one of
knock,
those-
like, taps, and I'm gonna be like,
Yeah,
they're here.
it's one of those things like as a
Get
kid,
the
like
gun.
it's one of those sci-fi concepts that like as a kid like you can understand the idea of aliens. It's one of those like
Yeah.
things that makes you like kind of face your mortality at a young age because you're
Yeah.
kind of like it's when you realize like how small like you are as a human, like there could be trillions of these other things.
Yeah. Well, the one instance of this that I can remember when I was a little kid, I was probably like, I don't know, 6 years old. We went to a very large toy store in the city that we lived in at the time, and we were walking through, like, they had a candy store section. Oh, I have to move up towards the mic.
Yeah, just get a little bit closer, boy.
We were going through this candy section, this big toy store, and I turned the corner, and there's like a life-size statue of E.T. there, and I jumped back and like hit the floor because it had freaked me out so bad.
Oh, I would have hugged that thing. I know
Oh
I
my
would've.
god, I don't know why, but even to this day, like just watching it and like the idea of that like alien like popping up in the wind, like the window. I'll have to maybe put a link to that video in the description.
I remember I was freaked out when he was dressed like a girl.
No
Like
way,
it-
man.
That was a weird scene.
all of it. As fascinated as I am by it, just
There's some spooky imagery in that film, I will say.
The visceral
Steven
idea.
Spielberg with like I remember that like swing moving by itself and that kind of stuff.
The ball and like him, Elliot running through the cornfield, and then there's E.T. popping out of the.
I remember
It's like
fifth
long
grade,
that like
early
neck
YouTube,
thing he does.
I was just like watching tons of film real alien walking near my house.
Oh, I remember. I've
like
watched all those
or like
too.
camera set up in corner of room while she walked in.
Yeah. What was your alien story that resonated like that was the one?
That's probably gonna be it. That's that if they
One of
come
those.
down. I feel like if we were still in the current, I don't know, man. Like, there's so many possibilities. Like, it could go like Halo, where it's just like, we're gonna glass your planet. Goodbye.
You think it'll be like some kind of war type thing?
Yeah, more or less. Like, I don't like who we are as humans. Like, I don't feel like you could really evolve out of your base instincts of like.
The odds of us fighting it are pretty great. Like,
Yeah.
they're
Like, if we can't evolve out of our ability to just be like, hey, let's not fight on Earth and try to get off Earth and like survive together. Imagine like someone evolving to the point where they can do that and they just come see us and we're like, yeah, we're just, you know what, you're not worth our time right now. Because you're all just fighting yourselves. Why would we try to get involved in this?
Yeah. I remember I watched, this isn't my one, but just to kind of go off what you said, I watched Signs. You ever see that? Yeah.
I did.
In that film, they kind of go into like, and this was pretty much confirmed because if you saw that movie, they're weak to water. And someone brought up the question, why would they attack a planet that's 2/3 water? And they went into it actually early in the film because they were like, okay, there's multiple options. They came here to communicate. They came here probably, just to murder us because they see us as a threat. Or option C, which was probably the thing it was, they ran out of resources and they're coming to our planet because they got nothing else to do but take our resources and to, wipe us out in the process. And I think that's probably, one of the more realistic things that'll happen. If it's not that, it'll probably be
Resources?
coming for our resources. But I think
What?
if aliens came to our planet, we would have to assume that their technology exceeds like our telescopes and all of those things. So their technology would have to be much better than ours.
What resource would they need from our planet that they couldn't get from another planet?
Assuming that their planet is just like a big ashy black ball at this point, they just like traveled off of it.
Yeah,
and
but
just
like,
seeing as far as they could go.
yeah, why would they come to Earth to fight humans when they could find like that one moon in Saturn that is made of completely diamond or something?
Because it was written
Or
by
Jupiter.
M. Night Shyamalan. That's why.
Okay.
Yeah, that's the explanation.
I wasn't
feel
trying to
like
argue this was a realistic
Yeah,
movie.
but like the one alien that's like, hey guys, there's like 3 other planets in the solar system with everything they have, but not with humans.
Yeah, but
That are gonna fight
I'd
us
assume
back.
they'd also like take our technology, take our
Take our women.
possibly. But either the one movie I'm gonna choose, it's not really this movie, just kind of like if they existed, again their technology would have to be so far past ours. Movies like District 9 I don't really think is realistic because they're presented as dumb and smart at the same time. Have either of you guys seen the movie Arrival?
I have not.
I think it came out in 2017. It was nominated for like Best Picture.
Isn't District 9 supposed to have a sequel that never happened?
Yeah, and I love District 9.
was also supposed to be apparently about Halo when it was first being produced. And also District 9 is supposed to be like a social commentary on the conditions of South Africa and apartheid.
Yeah,
but-
no, that was extremely obvious by the fact that it took place in South Africa.
Right. Well, what are you going to do?
And they were literally in camps and coming to their alien houses with like eviction notices. That movie is awesome, but it's so dumb at the same time. It's one
it's
of
a
those.
good movie.
It's
It
one of
really
those
is.
dumb, awesome movies. It's like Pacific Rim. But in that movie Arrival, basically the alien ship that comes to the planet is like this giant.
Where is it?
It's this abstract ass looking ship that doesn't make sense.
Yeah, it's like a cigar-looking kind of thing.
Yeah, pretty much.
What
And
movie is it called again?
Arrival.
I haven't seen that, so.
It's an artsy film, and when you see these aliens, because most of the film they're like trying to get into these ships, and when they finally do, it's just covered in mist. You can't really see that much, but when you see these fucking aliens, they're gigantic. They're fucking like they look like some Cthulhu monsters.
Yeah.
And the way they communicate is like they can like spray like this mist that will just be like. It'll just look like some kind of kanji or some kind of writing. And that'll be like a paragraph to them. Like they can understand. Yeah, they can understand like a lot of things with very little. And so the majority of the movie is them trying to communicate with these aliens, despite the fact that it's incredibly hard. So I think if aliens came to our planet, it would either be a war or it would be a very hard communication
Well, the whole
process.
reason that Covenants were the Covenant in
Oh,
Halo
and throughout
was
the whole
fighting-
movie, they're trying to wipe them out. Like China and all these other countries, they're like, no, wipe them out, get rid of them, send a nuke.
Well, the whole reason like they would fight is because their version of gods, which were forerunners, like littered, like another alien species is called the Forerunners. They littered the universe, especially the Milky Way galaxy, with their like technology, and all the planets humans happen to be inhabiting had that kind of technology. Well, there had been like Blue Harvest, I think was the name of it, and then it had Earth. They all had Forerunner technology, so the Covenant was drawn to those planets, and then once they met humans, they were like, yeah, let's wipe you out so we can take this technology.
Makes sense.
Yeah, because their leaders were like, this is our god, but it wasn't. They were just weapons of mass destruction they were trying to get their hands on.
Assuming there was an alien race that had like the technologies to like live in most uninhabitable places, we would assume that they would just keep traveling and traveling and traveling.
Yeah, basically, that's what I would do.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Harvest and go.
I mean, if you want to play,
honestly.
if you want to do a planetary expansion type experience, there's a game called Stellaris that I can highly recommend. It's very, very fun. It allows you to you can play as aliens, you can play as humanity, and you can choose what kind of government you want to set up on.
So like civilization beyond.
Yeah,
Earth.
but it's like gets super in depth with like it's setup of how you want to build your empire across, if you want it to be a democracy or fascist, communist.
Nice. That's interesting.
It's a fun game.
Have to check that one
You
out.
set up, my first playthrough, I did a monarchy where I was the my character was the king, and
Of course you would.
I had to set up a successor, and my Imperium of Man expanded through the galaxy.
I know this one civilization game I played, like, if you were a democracy, you couldn't, like, most of the times you can't start a war if you chose democracy, and you can't just, like, if you finally build your nuke, you can't just send it at somebody. So I would always, like, there's, like, an option, like, get rid of, like, all government just for a little bit, just to send that nuke, and then be like, okay.
Martial law.
And then, like, 2 turns later, they're like, okay, what form of government do you want? I'll be like, democracy. We'll just go back to what it was.
It's
Meanwhile-
democracy until I have to get real
Meanwhile,
stuff
my
done.
troops, like, once you nuke them, they're like, yeah, war, this is it. And you're like, oh, you wanna fight? Okay. Let me just walk into this blown up civilization you got. But do you guys want to keep on the conspiracies or draw out the barrel?
Well, we could go on. We've got more stuff we could talk about. Cryptids, if you guys know anything about cryptozoology.
Nope.
I know nothing.
That stuff like Bigfoot, Loch Ness Monster.
Oh, I know a lot about Loch Ness Monster.
We could go
It's
into
all fake.
paranormal. if we
It's
have
all
any-
fake, but I loved
It's
it
all
as a
fake.
kid.
If we have any conspiracy or any ghost stories of our own, whether we believe in ghosts,
Do I have a ghost story?
stuff
Ghosts
like
are
that.
like the most like.
The one.
I go
ghost
back and
thing I
forth
have.
on ghosts.
Ghosts. No ghost
The
stories.
one thing I have is like when I was a little kid, I remember like sleeping in my room and I was just awake, and then I just felt like I was holding my covers like this basically, and I just felt my covers just like get grabbed basically by the bottom of them, and it would like shake it just like a little bit forward and a little bit back basically because I had to pull them back, and it was just one cover, so I was like, oh, that kind of freaked me out right there.
Huh.
Nobody was in my room, obviously, and
It was just
got pulled forward. But that was it. That's the only ghost
And
story
that was
I
the
had.
only time that happened. I was gonna say the only one that I have didn't
My
even
mom
happen to me.
thought that place was haunted when we lived there.
Well, there you go. The only story that I have that not even happened to me, it happened to my mother. But I was in the house at the same time, so I guess it kind of directly happened to me too, by proxy. Was shortly after my grandmother died, my mother was standing in our kitchen making dinner one night, and she just smelled like the very strong essence or, aroma of her perfume that she would always wear, my grandmother. And that only happened like on one occasion. And then like after my grandfather passed, my dad was in our living room with like my dad's an avid collector of drones, and like just for some reason one of his drones just like started one night shortly after my grandfather, his father, passed away, and it just fired up, and then that was it.
I mean, that's crazy enough.
Whether those are any kind of sign, I'm sure you've seen all the videos on the internet of like ghost captured on film, and like I used to be a big ghost hunters watcher, and
I've seen
I love
those.
Ghost
I've
Adventures.
seen plenty of hours of Ghost Hunters. I've had my own, like, I remember the first house I lived in, I like, at the time I was like, I know this place is haunted. Like, I've seen, like, I remember just like doors, like I remember just visibly seeing a door close by itself. I remember just like weird temperature fluctuations and just like big bangs just hearing in the house, and then I'd investigate, and like I was home by myself and I'd just hear like psh, and I'd just walk around, like be like, what was that? Or I'd ask other people, be like, you hear that? They're like, yeah, I heard that was you, right? And I was like, that wasn't me. But never none of that was like good enough to me to be like
definitive proof.
Yeah, like I don't trust my mind enough to like assume that
Yeah.
reality exists outside my mind, and odds are it was probably in my mind. And most of those stories happened when I was a child, and crazier shit has happened when I was a child.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I think one of the other stories akin to that happened to my father when he was about in his late teens. Was his cousin were hanging out at a house that I guess it would be their grandfather had committed suicide in. And just one night they're like hanging out on the couch, like shooting the shit, watching TV, and they just hear a loud like bang. It sounds like a gunshot, and they both just kind of looked at each other and went like, "Well, we're going to bed. Good night," and just like pieced out of there. And, like another one that I believe that house too had like doors that locked not from the inside but from the outside, and one of the cousins ran in there and the door closed and somehow locked from the outside. One of those.
That's creepy.
If anything,
It's one
I
of
would
those
believe
kinds
in
of
like
things.
if ghosts were real, like the whole like people being possessed when they're asleep and stuff. Like their dreams could be reflected on like the ghost's mind going into their
I've
mind.
never heard that before.
Like not like Insidious, but like some on that line. Like they're trying to like give you messages and that kind of stuff.
Huh. That's.
Cause I remember like another reason I thought this house was haunted. I visibly remember waking up, and cause my mom woke me up. She was like, "What are you doing?" And I was in bed, literally just kind of like this on my knees. And I know I didn't fall asleep like that. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna go back to bed. For people for people
Catholic
listening,
prayer.
yeah, for people listening, I was like on my knees in
your
prayer
bed.
mode, sleeping. And I know I also slept walk at the time.
Lord
But
Jesus.
That sounds very creepy.
that is creepy, and that's
Bless
why I
this
like
bed.
that's why I thought that was a thing as a kid.
Now,
Like, again, that's not like good enough for me to like believe.
Yeah.
that.
my mom did have.
I
a
slept walk
story.
too. That's not weird.
Right.
My mom did have a story, and take her story with a grain of salt because she's weird. But she apparently woke up in like the
Sorry,
middle of the
Mrs.
night.
Shaboy, if you're listening.
In the middle of the night, and my sister was standing not at the foot by the doorway where so she saw her in the door, and like she said to my mom like, "I'm hungry" or something, and she's like, what are you saying? And like then she was like ran away back into her room, but like like she like walked after her and she was like dead asleep, like she wasn't like up at all. Apparently like my mom walked over to her and was like trying to wake her up and she like wouldn't get up. Basically she was that asleep.
My cousin was the worst sleepwalker you could imagine. Like, he almost died. There was one time we were at a hotel and he almost walked into the pool sleepwalking.
Really?
And they would put up like gates. He would get past them. There was like, I remember because I remember going have to use the bathroom at night and like getting past, like there'd be chairs and gates, and I remember being a little kid. I was like, how the fuck? Like, I'm awake and I can't get through this. There was one time I heard about this. I wasn't there for it, but like apparently he like was outside like in his underwear past locked doors and gates, and they just found him outside.
No, my
That's crazy.
My sister, like, we never were told that we were sleepwalkers, so I don't know.
I'm a sleep talker, not a sleepwalker. My girlfriend has told me on multiple occasions. Like last night, I
really?
apparently said like, "Okay, boss man," in my sleep, just like that. Like,
Okay, boss man.
Pick it up.
I've seen a couple people. I know I've done it like once or twice. I've seen my girlfriend do it once or twice. I remember my mom did it a lot. It's weird when people
yeah,
sleep
and like
because you're like, are you awake? And you just like
That's-
stare at them. You're like,
that's what I said to her when she told me this afternoon. She's like, "You said like, okay, boss man," like super sarcastic voice in your sleep last night. I was like, I don't even remember, and I said it just as I did then, and she's like, "Yeah, you said it just like that." And when from the last episode, I had told them after the show or before the show that I was talking in my sleep like that night again, and I said something like, "Had to sleep on the couch again, hashtag devastated," or something like that, like in my sleep. And I'm like, what kind of meme shit is going on in my head when I'm asleep? Like,
dream
I
about
can't
the
even, I don't even remember. That's what she asked me. She's like, "Do you know anything about that?" I was like, "Nope." And now I'm like kind of afraid, like, what am I gonna say in my sleep now that's gonna be like
You're gonna
hyper
just be like,
offensive?
yeah,
I'm gonna be
cheated
like,
on
I
her,
hate
so
my
what?
wife. Big anime titties in my I just wanted to look at cartoon boobs.
You just wake up with like a big black eye. Like, how'd you get that? Oh, I don't know.
She's like, "I woke up and I was kind of mad at you, but then I realized you didn't know what you were saying, so I wasn't mad at you."
No, part of you do what you're saying. It was just in its own world.
I remember this because you were just kept saying I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Because I was walking with him while he was talking on the phone to her.
Yeah.
I was
Yeah.
like,
Well, that
what's
was
this, what's
that
this
was-
plebe doing?
that was
Beta
from,
male
that was
over
from
here,
a different thing. That was
constantly saying I'm
because
sorry.
she was upset at me because I did not respond to her. Women. Hashtag devastated. Hashtag
Had to sleep
not
on the
working.
couch.
Are you guys just going back to the dreams things? Have you had dreams where you don't even know how that got into your mind? Like
No.
Yes.
I'm
I
not,
keep
I'm not
having
really
the
a
same,
lucid dreamer.
not dream, but reoccurring place.
which is
So not like
I know that there's
The
a
most
topic in there
recent
that's
one.
actually about weird dreams, but
it was
Save it
a
for
zombie
me.
apocalypse, but there was no zombies in the dream.
It was just
just
post-apocalyptic?
No, it was like we knew there were zombies, but we were in a place where it's like,
you're in a
good.
safe zone. You're in a zombie movie.
We weren't in a safe zone. It was just like it was like, picture like a campground area, but instead of like tons of cabins, it was just one big mansion, like log mansion, and then like a bridge to another big log mansion, and that was just
That's very specific.
Yeah, I've never been to this place, but it was a very specific and layout, and everything was the same.
Those specific dreams are the ones that you're just
Because this double house, has been on a beach that I've had a dream in, has been like in the forest before, but in a different scenario.
Yeah.
And like this most recent one was a zombie apocalypse.
That is.
So
I can't say. There's a couple dreams that I can remember.
I don't know what's going on.
That I've like actually really thoroughly remember, but nothing that's like super repetitive that I can like. Today, I woke up and I was like, maybe it wasn't today, but it was yesterday. I was like, I gotta go check because I did dream, or I thought I did IRL. Something, one of my video games that I have on my computer requires a whole bunch of mods, and these mods require the creators to update them whenever a new patch comes out. And I guess it was a dream that, like, I logged on there like I did what I'm doing. I'm sitting at my computer. I clicked on the icon to start the game, and I go to the mod tab, and I see, like, more of these mods have been updated. And I was like, oh, heck yeah. And I, like, activated them all again so they would be in the game. And then I guess you have to hit play on the game to get them to, like, officially stay active. And, like, today I woke up and I was like, was that real? Like, I got to go back and check. And I don't think it was, because now I can't remember if anything that I activated stayed, what was and wasn't activated before I left it. Like, it was one of those things, like, I can't tell if that really happened or not.
Now I just remembered a dream where I won a PS4 at a carnival game, and I was so happy because, like, I have an Xbox One and a PC, so I now I have a new console. I just remember waking up and then just be like,
That's happened to me, like, where I've, like, not won the lottery.
That's a $400 system that I have not won.
Yeah, like, I hate that when something beneficial would happen to you in a game. And, like, towards the end of the dream, you're like, wait, this is a dream.
Yep, this sucks.
Then you gotta look at your console rack and it's still that Xbox and computer there, and you're like, damn
It's
it.
not like I want to play on PS4, but it was just like, wow, I can sell this.
Oh, there you go, yeah.
I have a whole note thing in my phone just filled with random dreams, and most of the time I can't even make it to my phone before I forget.
Right.
But just reading these now, I don't remember 90% of these. Do you want me to go down the list of some of the weird dreams?
Oh, that's like a dream journal, but for your phone.
Yeah,
Like, just
pretty much. I mean, it's
a good
just
idea to do that.
writing it down before I forget. But
Smart.
and because I think everyone has those dreams that they remember forever. Like, I remember this one dream when I was a kid. There was, like, a gigantic spider that was eating me.
Mm-hmm.
That stuck with me for this. It was a nightmare, obviously. I remember one that actually inspired, like, a book I wrote where there was, like, this. That's one for another day. But going on, I guess it's my dream journal. I never looked at it that way. But it's literally just, like, not. It's literally one. Like, some of these are just. I robbed it.
He's getting really excited right now to talk about this.
He is.
I'm always excited. But some of these are just, like, not even a sense. One of them just says, I robbed a dude's house. Another one said.
My God.
So there's gonna be our clip for the intro last week on Kitchen Bitches. I robbed a dude's house.
One of my favorite Dragon Ball Z YouTubers. I was talking about Dragon Ball Z with him, but we were in an RV, and I didn't know what he looked like at the time, so he looked way different. And then I found out what he looked like, and I was like, damn, he's a lot more uglier in real life.
Oh, that's
Yeah, I robbed a dude's house.
There's one where I was in a gigantic car crash. There's one where I went swimming in a lake, and there was a megalodon shark in the water, so I got out. Yeah, right?
in a lake.
There's one that says,
How do you survive, dude?
ongoing dream where I am a girl and there's a stoic, awkward boy in the class, and he finds out that the class is a simulation, and he uses me to break out of it.
Okay, this sounds like
Don't
like
remember-
you're coming out of the
I was
closet
gonna
story.
say that looks like you've been watching that one show on Netflix.
I don't know.
Is that a show on
That-
Netflix?
It
Boy.
is. It is.
Oh,
I
What
can't
is it
remember what
called?
it's called, but it's got, I think, Seth Rogen or one of those big fat guys, and
One of those Jonah Hills.
Emma Watson, but the
Emma Stone.
Emma Stone in it, and
I must have saw like a trailer or something.
Boy, that just reminds me of a dream that I like thought of as like a great anime series. But
let's see here.
oh man.
Emma Stone.
Another YouTuber I know named Bobby Burns. Bobby Burns was in a sitcom. He was like the brother character of a sitcom, and that's all it says. Explored weird badlands where there were people starving, and I was a cult leader. That one's fun.
That sounds fun.
Yeah. I went to work, but I was out of uniform, so I was really embarrassed.
What?
It just says
Like
I went.
just normal clothes?
I guess
or
my normal
naked?
clothes, and then I got there. I was like, damn, I'm not wearing my outfit.
What am I doing here?
Yeah.
I remember one where it was my old house, and it was one of my old friends that I don't talk to anymore, and we apparently had a basement in the dream, but not in real life. And in the basement there was a velociraptor and like a huge like wasp nest, and it came after us. So we went into like my parents' bedroom on the second floor, and like had to like parkour a terrace. Is it called?
Yeah.
To get away from the Velociraptor onto the
Was it the
onto
wasp nest or the velociraptor that came after you?
the Velociraptor that came after us up to the second floor, and we had to like jump out the window onto the terrace and like get down, and that's the whole dream. Because you can only remember one part.
You can always remember the part. Like, I remember good dreams, but then it, like, got fucked up, and I remember that fucked up part. Like, I remember a whole dream where I was, like, on a cruise ship, and this was, like, when I was, like, really young. I was still, like, in middle or elementary school. I remember, like, the crush I had was in there. I don't remember her name even, but she was there, and I remember thinking, this is my life. This is the best.
Goals.
And then,
5
like,
years goals.
I remember I just fell off the boat, and I woke up, like... and that's all I remember is that ending part where I fell off the boat. Sad
By
face.
the way, that show is called Manic, and it's got Emma Stone and Jonah Hill. And
Oh,
they're both got like these crazy, various mental disorders of varying degrees, like schizophrenia and stuff, and they go to this pharmaceutical company that puts them in this simulation where they're basically like normal people, but they're like, no, this isn't right, like, we don't belong here.
That's crazy.
Kind of the same thing.
Yeah, never heard of it. I must have saw the trailer, or I just thought of that on my own. Your mind kind of makes it up as it goes. I probably was just like, yeah, I'm in class, and then I was like, oh, I guess I'm a girl. Oh, there's a guy.
I have boobs.
Yeah, and then the guy was like, yo, this is a simulation. We're getting out of
There
here.
you go, there's another one. I have boobs.
Last time.
I robbed a dude's house. I have boobs. The wasp nest was chasing me.
I had to jump on parkour.
I had to parkour across the terrace.
Aw, damn. We are at an hour and a half. Do you guys want to do anything more?
I guess, should we draw to the bucket one and just make it an even 2, or... I mean, we got a half an hour.
Huh. That's if we want to do 2 hours. Are they all 2 hours long?
Pretty much.
We've only touched on one conspiracy and then talked about dreams, really.
Yeah, we talked about ghosts and dreams and
Aliens.
Aliens.
And that whole thing with, what's his face?
cryptids and stuff, and...
I think it's time for the buckets.
Well, we can save 9/11 for a different day.
Yeah, I mean, 9/11's...
9/11 wasn't going anywhere.
Yeah. The
mean,
moon
there's-
landing's not going anywhere. Flat
Yeah.
Earth is always going to be a thing.
Flat Earth will always be flat. 9/11 will have always been the fault of the Jews.
The Holocaust.
Wait, what? The fault of
The Holocaust
Did
will have
not
never
happen.
happened.
Yeah, the Holocaust didn't happen.
All of them.
And we're gonna get taken down. You
Yep,
from
that's
YouTube.
demonetization for...
Oh,
You
like,
mentioned conspiracies.
first off, they're going to demonetize us for our title. And we gotta make money before they
Right, we gotta-
demonetize us.
We're gonna be a
We
Christian podcast now.
We
Anyway.
Kitchen Christians.
Yep. Kitchen Christians. Maybe that's what we should do for April Fools.
We can.
Hello, guys.
Kitchen Bitchin' would be the Kitchen Angels. I don't know.
Something like that.
Functioning member of society of the podcast.
You look ready to draw out of the bucket.
I'm kind of curious about the bucket because you were writing down a bunch of stuff.
I wrote like 3 or 4, yeah.
Yeah, time to get that ASMR.
Last time Shwoogie and I were talking, I basically told him all the ideas I had, and that's all I
And I
added to
don't
it.
remember them, so... It was a poor shakeup. I just...
Well, this sucks because I don't have this as a story to say.
Let me read it.
Because I can't
Oh,
relate.
we
to
talked
this.
about that
pretty
last
much,
time.
Yeah, we pretty much did that
Off
off
the
I'm
air.
gonna throw that one away.
I was
I
gonna
wouldn't have
say-
wrote that if I knew we were gonna pretty much do that.
I mean, I don't know if I would... I felt more comfortable talking about that one, not on...
Plus, I feel like if we go into that one, it's gonna
This
be
is
like
terrible
another hour.
handwriting. Worst type of YouTube videos? Is that YouTube?
Is it mine?
I think you wrote that one, because I don't think I put that
I don't
in.
even remember it. And that's my handwriting, but I
I
don't
guess
remember.
we're gonna go with a different one again.
You sure?
It's
I mean,
okay.
I felt like that was.
What,
decent.
let's see what we
Okay.
pull out now. What
Yeah.
did you have there?
Fine. F all my ideas.
Keep pulling out there. Let's see what we got.
See what souls.
Pre-Google YouTube.
Ah, so
Ah.
now
It just comes back to
Movie.
YouTube.
two YouTube video things back to back. So it was my idea was talking about YouTube before like YouTube was popular, and Soul talking about the worst kind of YouTube videos. And we touched on this a little bit in the beginning with the whole like let's play gaming, showing your face in the corner and stuff like that. So I guess this will make for a good like way to round out the last hour. So I guess we'll start since he drew Soul's idea first. What was
It was just
worst kind of
kinda-
YouTube videos? So what?
Yeah.
Where are we coming from with that?
I think it's just like, what are the videos that like you watch and you immediately gotta click off? Like for me, it's like reaction videos. As an editor, like any video that's like super like, I can see it behind the scenes and I know that they're not doing anything. Just certain things that bother me. Like if it's an edited video and I can see them reach for the camera button at the end of the video, that always gets me. Just like things like that like really bother you. I hate obviously anything by a little kid. If I'm watching a tutorial and it's immediately like oh, welcome to my tutorial today, and you can't even understand them, as like just they just sound so grainy, and it's like and they actually have the information I need, and I'm just like communicate like a normal human being, please. What kind of like, why are you recording in front of a potato? Oh, but yeah, did you guys have anything like that?
I can, as I alluded to earlier, the worst kinds of YouTube videos for me are unboxings.
That's
reaction
another one I hate.
videos.
Yeah.
Like, I don't understand.
Unbox therapy. Like, that's the whole thing of the channel.
Yeah. The whole, like, doing Let's Plays with your face in the corner, like, watching you play the game. The reason that, like, reaction, like, I don't care what you, like, I don't care who you are. I don't care what you think about the latest Star Wars trailer or the latest trailer to, like, Call of Duty or Battlefield, like, or the release of X new Smash character. Like, why? I don't care. Why should I care? Sure, I'll take your, like, feedback of, like, what you think it's going to add, but I don't need to, like, listen to you watch.
No, I know.
Watch.
When I can just watch the trailer and then, like, come back for, like, your actual feedback on what you think it's going to add.
If you've seen
To the game.
if you've seen any of those like reaction channels, I'm not talking about Fine Bros that's at least kind of edited.
Right.
I don't like Fine Bros for other reasons, but like if you watch these reaction channels, 90% of the video is literally just them watching the video, and I remember I recorded like one way back in the day before I even knew what reaction videos were, and I was just kind of doing my own. It was like a trailer for the new Mass Effect game, and it got like. Literally, I just recorded me. I, like, stumbled through the thing. I was just kind of like, oh, what is this? What is this? And I got the title of the game wrong, and I got butchered for it in the comments, and it got, like, 5,000 views or something like that, like, in no time. And I was like, oh, so, this is fucked up. I was like, this is, people, I was like, people watch these. And there's certain things I can understand, like, if it's, like, there's certain ones I've seen like online where it's like the ending of such and such, and like specific moments, like you like part of your brain thinks, oh, how do other people react to like when this character died? I can kind of get, and it'll be like a compilation, but like when it's just I'm gonna watch a video with some random dude and he's not gonna say anything and have no points to say about it, those are the videos I hate the most.
I would say the one that I can think of that comes to mind that got kind of like meme to all hell and back was this guy watching and reacting to the Rise of Skywalker trailer, where he's watching this trailer and he's like literally crying about a Star Wars movie, and everyone is just like beating this guy to death in the comments.
The newest one?
Yeah.
There's nothing in that trailer.
Well, like, this guy is still sitting there. He's like, oh my god, it's so beautiful. This is the end.
So he's literally crying about a title, font, and like that one scene.
Emperor. I mean, he was
the Emperor. Oh yeah, because that's.
Can
we rant about the Emperor coming back possibly?
Literally crying. I mean, literally this series of Star Wars. We'll cover this another day.
No, I like the new trilogy. I just think
I do not.
I do not.
I think you and I, like, one of the first times we hung out, we argued about Last Jedi.
It's just.
This is good. We're just gonna
not likable characters.
I'm gonna axe
gonna-
this
The
topic
characters
right
are a
now,
step down.
We've got 30 minutes left, and this is gonna be a whole 2
We got
hour.
20 minutes.
The whole Star Wars debate is gonna that might
That's
have
its
to
own
be
episode.
next.
Yeah,
That's
we're
gonna
gonna
have
have
to be its own entire 2.5 hour episode. The
We're
Star
gonna
Wars
just start
question.
with it. Y'all are fucking idiots. This is how
Yeah.
Soul's gonna say.
No, I would be a great
I
devil's
don't think
advocate
Luke
because
Skywalker's Jewish.
I'll be a devil's advocate because I like both those movies. I really like The Last Jedi.
When I watched.
I do want to rewatch it again now.
No, stop.
Yeah, you're
no,
right. Okay.
Shut up.
Okay, yeah, you're
All
right.
right.
You're right.
Hard point.
The worst YouTube videos.
Right.
I got my point across. I don't know.
I've yet to say the ones that I hate. Vlog videos.
Yeah.
Specific people, specifically.
Okay.
'Cause my girlfriend doesn't like the people I watch, not because they're vlogs, but the way they talk. I'll
Right.
try to do an example. Like, 2 + 2 = 4. That's how every line of their video is going to go, because they're explaining how to do something. So they're going to have a slight inflection, rather followed by a condescending tone. And so she listens to my stuff and is like, wow, I don't want to listen to you.
So
But then-
are those like how-to videos or
Kinda.
DIY kind of stuff?
Do DIY stuff,
Whatever.
mainly pertaining to like tech stuff.
Okay.
But then she watches stuff that are like BuzzFeed oriented, but they're individual creators that either worked at BuzzFeed or like they're doing their separate things. And they do vlogs where they're like, oh my gosh, look at this shirt, look at this, look at this,
my
and like we're going
God.
here and we're doing this, and it's
This
just like,
false energy.
yeah, it just feels so fake to me, and it's just like,
That goes into that thing that PewDiePie started a long time ago, where he's like, they're like, oh, like, are you having a bad day? Like, what's wrong? And he's like, that whole controversy where people are like kind of faking their happiness on YouTube because they know people want to see like a high energy person, and it's like a job. And there's a part of like even I like when I make a videos, like I want to make the number of videos I want to make, and I'm not going to be in a good mood every time. But at the same time, it's like, are you abstracting the quality by not being in a good mood when you record? Like, there's a lot of levels to that argument. But those videos I think are all pretty false energy.
yeah,
Yeah, that's what like
it kind of hits it with the maintenance people that like come down and then bitch about us like not taking care of our equipment, but it's like, but it's your job to take care of our equipment. Why are you bitching at us? You should be the ones that are fixing
Well,
it.
I mean, I guess we were supposed to do the quote-unquote preventative stuff, but like there's only so much of that you can do.
I didn't know
with
this is
just
a thing. I
new
didn't know they were
equipment.
Yes. Oh my
Wear
god.
and
Every
tear.
time the maintenance people come down to fix any type of equipment, and especially if the drains get clogged, they always just be like, man, we're just gonna bolt some
I never
drain
trust
covers
people.
to these drains, so y'all can just scoop the food shit out with your hands, so it doesn't get clogged.
Mhm.
And it's just like,
Watch me shove 5 paper towels down there, then my dude. Watch
exactly.
me
It's
be
just
malicious
like
compliant.
it's your job to unclog these.
I mean,
things. They're paying
90%,
you to do that.
90% of what we could prevent, like, is mostly like our higher ups telling us that's the way you should do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like not just like where like we drain our grease and everything, but like just kind of like what equipment we should use and how we use it.
Do you know the proper way of disposing our grease is?
We have
We throw it into a double bagged bag
trash
and then
bags.
take it ourselves to the dumpster. And how they're telling us to do it is to dump it down the drain.
Yeah.
Mhm. Most places just have the
A
grease trap or
yeah,
grease
we don't have it
dumpster.
anymore because we don't.
Yeah.
Need it, but we do need it.
Yeah, we don't have fryers anymore, but we still obviously have the trap under the grill that catches the majority of the stuff.
Yeah.
Let's not talk about work. Let's talk about aliens and shit again.
Yeah.
I
that
say
gets-
that was our
Anyways.
kitchen bitching for this week.
Yep.
Hour and 40 minutes in and lasting for a total of 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Kitchen bitches, everyone.
That's all we needed, though.
Yeah. The obligate.
We don't have fryers anymore. We dump our grease down the drain. Fuck the earth. We don't care if we clog drains.
We threw it in the trash before, but then they got us.
Yeah, and then we
down
got
the
in
drain.
trouble for that, and then they told, like, chef is telling us one thing, and then the higher management tells us another thing. It's like, you know what? I'm just gonna dump it down the sink because fuck both of you guys.
Yeah.
I do what I want.
I'll tell higher management, but chef said this, and then they'll be like, "Well."
No, chef is wrong, and then chef will be like, no, they're wrong. It's like, oh,
And then like,
here, I'll
it
just
becomes
dump
a
it on
dick
the floor and you
measuring
figure it
contest.
out.
and they'll be like, "But this person who has more authority said this." And I'll be like, "That person has more authority? I didn't know that. I've learned stuff." Shows how much of a cog in the machine I am that I don't even know.
Just start pulling on their tie. who the fuck is your higher up? You just go to them and then pull on that guy's tie. Who the fuck is your higher
march
up?
straight into the CEO's office.
That's
And
the
be like, what do
thing.
we do with the grace?
That just kind of goes into the
Getting
thing
those
of
eyes wide shut parties.
Yeah.
at some point though, they're just not even gonna care because it's not their problem. It doesn't matter if you throw it down the drain. It doesn't.
Why the fuck is this a problem, guys?
Yeah, wherever you think is easiest, we don't give a shit.
Because the people you hired to hire me are making it a problem.
Pretty much.
And the other people who
that's-
you also hired are complaining about it to me.
That's about sums up our place of work is the people you hired and the people higher ups are complaining about the way we're doing things, even though that's the way you told us to do it. That pretty much sums it all up. Anyway, YouTube, as we were saying, worst kinds of YouTube videos, pre-Google YouTube.
I think we got the videos thing down, unless you had like videos you really hated.
I mean, I said already, like the unboxing and like reaction
Yeah,
videos.
the
I don't know how you
unboxing
guys feel
videos.
about like top tens.
I hate. A part of me really does hate Watch Mojo just kind of for again being. I don't.
It's clickbait, man. At this
It's
It
clickbait,
is.
and it's a lot of like, oh, it'll be like top 10 Dragon Ball Z fights, and it's some person who like hasn't watched Dragon Ball Z in 5 years, just
Top
kind of making
10
shit up.
anime deaths.
Yeah, and it's just, I hate Watch Mojo for being a machine. A top 10 video kind of is like a perfect example of what YouTube is to me. Like it's kind of just like brain food, and it's kind of just like. 90% of YouTube is other forms of content being digested. Like it's gameplay, but now you have a person with it. It's a movie, but now it's being reviewed by somebody. It's a top 10 list of all these things you like, but someone else's opinion.
It's the unoriginal version of the original.
Yeah, it's
Kind of, yeah.
and that's not necessarily a bad thing. It like helps
It's
you.
free content. It's free.
It's
you
free
know, You
content
get what you
and-
pay for in a sense. So you gotta
And-
seek out the good content.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and there's been countless times where like I loved something or I just needed like a better way to visualize and explain it, and then someone else did that for me, and it made me appreciate that content more.
True.
It's a digestive track,
Like
which is not a bad. This is not an insult.
I do enjoy how-to videos if I have to like find something like installing the speakers into my old car was like a big help to
Yeah,
find
yeah.
videos
Yeah.
on YouTube.
Yeah,
That was pre-Google
yeah.
YouTube.
I
honestly,
learned
to
I
me,
learned how to
just
edit
how-to
through
videos.
YouTube.
Yeah.
It's like all points of art is to make you feel and to make you think, and it's just helping you do that, and kind of you get
That's a
other
good
people's perspective.
What do you consider art and not consider art?
I
Depending
consider
on, like,
pretty much,
what mainstream people think.
yeah. I consider most things art. It's either all art or it's very limited, depending on who you're asking.
I mean, is there objective art or is all art subjective? But that's another topic.
Yeah, I was gonna say we're
there is
almost
no
2 hours
no
in.
no no. I am under just to get that out of the way. No, I even made a video like objectivity doesn't exist because it doesn't. I think it's all subjective.
It doesn't.
What
guess-
qualifies as good, like in any artistic medium? Like like
Yeah.
those paintings on the wall. Does it matter like what brush strokes and what styles of brushes are the good ones? What colors are the good colors? If
The white ones.
dude, got him.
I just had to. I didn't. I'm just sitting here and I'm just
Oh,
like,
that
kind of
was great.
zoning out, and then I'm just like the white ones.
This man.
I'm not
over here
racist.
thinking
But
about
like the universe,
subjectivity.
just to end that argument, the universe doesn't decide what good is. It doesn't give a shit what this movie is, if it's good or bad. It's all a product. You determine
Unfortunately,
what's
through the
good.
religious perspective, there is an objective good and bad. So,
Yeah.
oof.
Well,
I'm
by
gonna have
that
to agree
logic-
with him then and go on. Everything is subjective.
Oh, shut up, man.
Um,
You remember like 2 months ago, you were all like, man, Renaissance pictures are so much better than the shit that
I
my
agree with
girlfriend
that.
posts."
That's
I
his
agree with
subjective
that.
opinion.
Yeah.
It is.
I guess it's like
I
the
think
time
that
you
shit
wrote.
sucks.
Yeah.
And so does that.
There's gotta be some sort of.
I
objective
like
base.
no, I hate those reviewers who like look at it like it's like it's all objective and they have to like boil it down to a number and like in film school they say this is good.
No, it doesn't
and
have to be a professional objectivity, but like in its own, like this picture that we're referring to is like a bunch of evolutions.
Yeah.
So like in the Pokemon scape, like that's a really good picture. But like somebody drawing like a stick figure Eevee is not going to be good compared to that one because it's in the Pokemon.
Okay,
Like
let's say.
objectivity.
Remember
Someone
that
might-
animation you showed me? Those were stick figures, and we thought that was bad.
Yeah, but that's in the stick figure landscape. Of
So if I draw
objectivity.
some really good evolution stick figures, they aren't good anymore.
How would
What?
you even represent evolutions in stick figure form?
Yeah, exactly.
You would just give them like cool
I would
haircuts.
say you would
I
have to
guess,
give like
on top of a stick
give
figure.
one like
All right, you got me there.
shit. I don't know.
Let's say like
Make
I'm.
one,
let's
make
say.
one spiky and it's the
Yeah, but let's say you're just
Zapion
really nostalgic about like
and
stick
I
figures
forgot.
and stuff, and it happens to have like cool backdrops and cool animations. It's like one of those holographic pictures where it's like if you move a type of way, it moves.
I'm talking about pictures versus that's like animation though.
But like, it's all the same, isn't it?
What?
It's all the same though. Animation is just moving pictures.
Yeah, but you don't call that one like a still
Okay.
anime.
Fine. But let's say like I'm just really fond of that style of art. Is my opinion invalid because you like that version better?
You can enjoy what you want, I guess.
But you're objectively
guess.
right and I'm wrong is what you're saying.
Yeah.
That's what he's saying.
But
It
isn't that
sounds
your
like-
personal?
But let's change that. Let's say I like the new Lion King better than the old one. Am I objectively wrong? Because I can guarantee you 90% of the kids who watched that movie and then went to the cartoon probably thought the newer one was better.
Yeah.
Mm.
I mean, objectively,
Especially if they
like,
watched it first.
it's in a higher definition, so objectively, yeah, it's in a higher definition of
So
quality.
you're saying the new Lion King is objectively better than the other one?
Not every aspect of it.
I am so against your opinion right now.
Not every aspect.
So
I
that
thought
Lion,
the voice
what,
actors were a
what
lot
is
better
that?
than the
What is
original.
that Lion King out of 10?
Out of 10?
Yeah.
Lion
Still
King out of 10.
It's a higher, but it's a higher score than the older one.
No, I think the original was better.
Okay. But it looks worse.
Yeah,
Objectively, it looks worse.
objectively it does.
That's
but voice
that's
actors,
half
I
of the
think,
medium.
I think singing, objectively singing, the original was better.
Timon sounds much better in the new one. Donald Glover sounds much better in the new one.
I don't know about that.
Oh, I will
Andrew.
compare the singing voices of the new Timon.
I mean, singing, sure, but like, I haven't seen the
Yeah,
new
you can-
one, so I can't really. But I watched, like, I don't know how much Parks and Rec you've watched. That's who the voice actor of
Very
Timon
little.
is, the guy who played that angry homosexual on Parks and Rec. Was the
Not
guy
familiar.
who okay, so he played the character on Parks and Rec that was basically the same cadence, speech pattern, and mannerisms as Timon in this new movie. And now, granted, I've only seen like one clip where Timon and Pumbaa are first introduced in the new Lion King, where they run through the flock of birds. But as I was watching that scene, all I could think of, like, Seth Rogen as Pumbaa, I can believe that because it seemed to fit.
He's a
But-
big fat guy.
But watching Timon talk and stuff, like, all I could think of was this angry gay guy from Parks and Rec.
I mean, that kind of goes into a bigger problem with that movie, which is these characters who are supposed to be animated and supposed to look lively, but they look static and look like animals.
Well, there's a great video called Jesus Christ, I can't remember now. but
Which I'm gonna come back to his argument to like finish
To
you
beat
after
down
he's
his
done.
grave.
Yes.
It was a girl talking about what changed in movies or animated specifically, where they became less about telling a story through animation and more about just how many famous actors can we shoehorn into this movie.
That's
to
what I felt. I really
to
felt like
sell
Mhm.
this movie, and that really started with the point she was making with Aladdin, where it's like, oh, Robin Williams is a big famous actor this time, let's throw him in there. And then you have
that. The
It was
original
like-
Aladdin you're talking
yeah, the original
Yeah.
Aladdin.
Huh.
And
It
then
started. He's saying it started like with one famous actor, but now it's like a cast.
now it's a
okay.
whole cast of famous actors. And then it happened again with Hercules, where they had Danny DeVito come in and do Phil. Then they had in Hunchback of Notre Dame, Jason Alexander, George Costanza come in and do one of the voices of the gargoyles, and so on. You know, you had Phil Collins starting to do all the music for like Tarzan. Like, I don't remember any named actors in Tarzan, but you know, it goes on and on. And you have like Owen Wilson in Cars and
Eddie Murphy as Mushu.
Eddie Murphy as Mushu and Donkey and Mike Myers as Shrek. I know these aren't Disney movies, but like, you know, Cameron
you
Diaz
Americans
as
and your
Princess Fiona.
trivia.
Shut up.
Like movie trivia over here and actors. I just don't know any of these
I don't
people
know.
you're
I
referencing.
don't know.
I knew everything. I think you're just out of the loop.
I just
He's just
don't
out of the-
pay
I know you-
attention
yeah.
to celebrities.
He's
I
like, I'm
don't
just gonna go
care.
back to Bible school.
The Bible school.
I just have more important things in my life than worry about
See,
what
I'm
celebrity's name or
I
what's...
don't worry about them. I just
You're
it's
not
like
worrying, but you
you know if you watch a YouTube video,
Yeah.
you know the YouTuber. It's like
Yeah.
you learn. I've seen these. I've
Yeah.
seen.
I guess.
I've seen like 10 movies with the same
I just
guy
don't
who
watch
sounds.
movies, you know. So
Yeah, that's the only difference.
I don't watch a lot of movies.
But can I finish Shaboy over here? Okay.
You can
Finish me
finish
off.
him
If you
on
really want to go back to the
Oh,
stick
yeah?
figure thing,
one or two hands.
if you really want to go back to the stick figure thing, let's say we got this little. I'm using these paintings on the wall, which is hard for a listener. But like, let's say there's a painting of like these 9 creatures, and there's stick figures of the exact same. Why is the painting good?
So
Define
you're talking about
define good for me.
good?
Yes, define why these, like what's better, like what's good about this painting over his stick figures.
What's more appealing? You mean?
I mean, that's subjective that's the most subjective word you could use, but sure. What's
Well, good and what?
A banana.
you're saying objectivity,
That's
like
what I got
what's
this
better,
time. Not again.
what's
Yeah.
gooder, what's
What's
better about these paintings over the stick figures.
Because there's more work put in, I guess.
Detail,
Detail.
color.
Yeah. Accuracy to the original.
What if I believe less is more and I'm fucking blind? I'm not blind, colorblind. Like I
Then your
can't see any
girlfriend is
color.
not satisfied.
I can't see
Nice.
color.
Nice.
I can't see color, and
I'm colorblind. You're talking to a person. That's
I know, but let's say I'm
That's
trying
why
to
I
use.
write everything in green so he can't see it.
Let's say I can't see any color.
Where's the stick figure?
I can't see
Did
any
you fill out
color.
these labels?
If you guys don't let me finish this one sentence,
He's getting two.
I can't see color,
I'm
and
triggered.
the argument that people who put more time into some is completely bullshit. There are great movies made in a day that are better than ones made in a year. There's 1,000 better examples. My best videos I made in a day than the ones I've made over 2 months. One of my worst videos I worked on for like 3 months. So
I'm sorry. What was that rant?
let's say I can't see color. What's better about these paintings?
The detail, obviously. I mean, versus stick figure. If you're like
A
looking
stick
at,
figure is literally
break
a
me out.
circle
Give me
and
that. Give me that Sharpie boy, and we'll draw a couple stick figure Eevees on here, and we'll look at them and be like, all right, tell me why this.
The stick figure is a
Better
bad
than
example, but let's say just like a similar, just worse drawn painting, like a little bit less detail. Let's say I'm just into that art style. Like, let's say I'm into more cartoony, less defined stuff. Why am I wrong? Why is your thing better than my thing?
That's
Because there is no better. The universe does not give a shit about what's better because it doesn't exist.
yeah.
There is no.
The free market, man. You should
Yeah.
know about this.
The new Lion King
If the
and the
free
old Lion
market-
King aren't different. They're both just movies. The only thing that can define what's better are people, and we define what's better, but like we're never going to agree. So we should just all say,
Yeah.
my opinion is mine, your opinion is yours. The second we start going into our own little groups and saying, oh, my 60% says it's better, so it has to be better. That's just stupid. And we know that majority of the time, the greater amount of people are usually wrong.
Well, I mean,
Climate change
Soul, yeah, Soul and I have had this conversation once or twice where we've gone back and forth and get to settle it on what's better, Warhammer 40K, which I am in the camp of, and
Mass Effect.
Mass Effect, which is his favorite.
Neither are.
Neither of us
better.
have played the other game, though.
Yeah,
the second I
exactly.
play Warhammer, I'll make a comparison.
Yeah, exactly. The
No,
minute
you don't
that
want to play Warhammer.
Yes, you do.
Wait,
Don't
are you
listen.
talking about? Are you talking about Total War?
40K, man.
Are you talking about the
not
RTS?
fantasy. Yeah. Well, the tabletop, and I mean,
These are
it's a lot of
very
books.
different games, by the way. There's very
Absolutely
little
huge.
similarities.
Like those who know, like know.
We were just flexing our nuts on our favorite games.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Let's compare apples to cucumbers. Real
Basically,
quick.
yeah, that's what we were doing. Like my space opera of, you know, I lost it, but my space opera is better than your space opera, basically.
Yeah.
But kind of the whole Star Trek to Star Wars debate, or the whole, you know, that kind of thing. It's apples to oranges. It's too different,
But they're still fruit.
but
And thus
yeah,
can be compared.
But okay, all right,
Valid argument.
it is.
There it is.
Cucumber's still. a
Was
fruit
that
too.
leading to anything?
Cucumbers are not.
No, I had something, and we were just talking about the less is more
Your
thing.
boy ruined it with this whole fruit argument.
By the way, that video that I was referencing, where I was talking about when animation changed from wanting to be more about the storytelling and animation to like how many actors could be shoehorned in here, is this video called "How Aladdin Changed Animation by Screwing Over Robin Williams" by Lindsay Ellis. It's a good video, very informational. Definitely watch it if you want to learn more about that whole thing. And then
Maybe I'm just more of an objective person, so I view art.
that
as
could
sort
be
of an
so.
objective thing.
I get that too. I'm a very
I just-
black and white matter of fact person myself, but
Okay, but like, most people think, what's like a big art? Like,
Like I'm
we all know
saying,
what
like,
Studio Ghibli is, right?
no.
I know.
Like, what's a big artful thing that a
I
lot
know
of people
what
don't?
Studio Ghibli is with
Yes, you do. You're.
Hiroshima, Nagasaki, and
Most people
Like,
think
I
most
can
people think
enjoy-
like the 50 Shades of Grey are better than like
okay.
like classic literature.
Well,
when
alright.
that's probably, I think we can all say, is not the case.
Okay,
right?
here. Let me. I got one.
So
for you.
the greater amount of people cannot determine what is good.
the new
right?
trilogy.
I don't
versus
like-
the old trilogy of Star Wars.
I don't like the.
I think
I
that
don't-
one's a lot more murky though. Like
don't
in
like
terms of
stuff.
fandom, like
All
let's
right,
okay,
then
let's say
the
most
prequel
people.
trilogy to the old trilogy.
Okay, most people think the older one's better though.
Of course.
Wait, older as in.
But I'm trying to
4.6
use an example
versus
where the majority is wrong about something.
Okay.
climate change.
Ouch.
That's why I tried to make like the
Okay.
and-
the majority is wrong. I
yeah,
have the wrong
like a
opinion,
place
is
of
what you're
ignorance.
saying. There's stuff that I can think of. I just
I
can't.
don't-
right
I know,
now.
I know.
I don't like when people compare things that are vastly different from each other and say this one's better.
When people say our food is good.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, but like,
Vast majority of people that say.
Say, man, the food there is killer. Is it though? Like, yeah, it's gonna kill you probably. It was a low-hanging fruit joke. I'm sorry.
I have so many like great, better examples that I just can't think
I
of
know.
right
I know
now.
exactly where you're getting.
Let's just use that one. Like most people think, 50 Shades of Grey shit books are better than like classical literature. The majority is obviously wrong. Then who determines what is better?
Do the majority do? I don't think they would.
I think if you asked,
like you'd have to sample size like lonely middle-aged women.
I'm not using this. I don't have a good example.
You don't have a good like. Okay, how about this? People think Halo
I'm just gonna
2
cut the
or
last
Halo
20
1
minutes
is
of
the
the
best
show
game
and
compared to
right
Halo
then.
3, 4, and 5. The majority of people think that, but you know, they're all different in their own aspects, I guess.
So it's
But
subjective.
there is some subjectivity, but you know,
Okay, we're
and
making
there's
a little
also
bit of
nostalgia.
progress.
I'm just
There's a little
saying
bit of progress.
that I'm a very objective person, so I see like, you know, objectively, Halo 2 had some very key features that other Halo games just kind of lacked. Whether it be storytelling, whether it be art style, yeah. You know, certain things that are there that are not present in other art. That I guess subjectively you would find better.
Let's say we're talking to a group of kids. Like we're all children in a world of children.
Who likes
And they
Fortnite?
all see the new Lion King. They all think it's better. You know, we know you think the other one's better. Just based off,
Do we show them the new one first or the old one first?
we'll show them the old one first, and then they think the new one's better.
Mm-hmm.
You think the old one's better. The majority think the new one is better. Why are they wrong?
Because they're kids, and I'm out of
But,
touch with
okay.
reality.
We are all children in this universe.
Okay,
Okay.
so we're all children.
So how
Yes.
old are we? I need to be in a frame of reference. There.
We're all 10.
All right.
Why is the majority wrong?
Hmm.
Or is this new Lion King going to go down in history as the newer, better one, and we all sing and dance and be like, oh, remember that old one that used to exist? Man, that shit sucked. And you're over here in the corner, obviously wrong, according
All by
to you.
yourself.
Oh,
By your definition,
that's it.
that movie is objectively better.
I think the new one sucks.
I really do think the new one actually sucks.
I mean, I have my own gripes with it, but like explain to me like where it comes into objectively better. Like what defines objectively better?
Objectively better.
Yeah.
I don't know. I guess I can't when I'm on the spot like this.
As you say,
But
I
that
think
doesn't
they're-
mean.
it's the same like retelling of a story. It's just done differently. So I guess it would have to be like the Spider-Man. Well, maybe doing like with the Spider-Man movies would be a better example. So if you take like the Tobey Maguire, the Andrew Lincoln, and Tom Holland, like all three of those, like the very first. I guess the Tom Holland doesn't do the same thing as like the whole Uncle Ben getting shot kind of thing. So I guess take the Tobey Maguire
I haven't
and
seen the Tom Holland.
the Andrew Lincoln like Spider-Man.
Is that
It's
his
like
name? I thought he had
Andrew Lincoln.
Yeah.
I think that's his name. Who's the Spider-Man in the Amazing Spider-Man
Yeah.
or whatever that
I mean, it
is.
could be. I could just be blanking.
I think
Emma
that was,
Stone.
and she was the
Yeah.
Mary Jane in those.
No, she was.
Well, the Mary Jane equivalent.
Was that not her name?
No,
She
there
was
was a
Gwen
different one.
Stacy.
Gwen Stacy.
Oh, okay.
There's different universes, I think.
Okay, I
It's Gwen
didn't-
Stacy.
In the comics, Gwen
Isn't it-
Stacy I think came after Mary Jane, and it's yeah.
I don't know anything
I thought
about that.
I thought
so-
Gwen Stacy came before, and that's why she died. And then Mary Jane was like, "Hey, no, I'm."
No, in the original story, it's Mary Jane, the girl next door, and then I think Gwen Stacy's like the college girlfriend equivalent.
Oh,
But
okay.
like again, there's 1,000 different versions. Is what you're talking about.
Yeah.
I could be
like
wrong.
1,000
about that.
different Robins.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's why I think that maybe doing the same medium where they're both live action films, but with different actors and slightly different little details here and there. Which of those two?
I mean, that's a case where like it's very, again, it would have to be more subjective on what's better, because like it's kind of like, what do you as a Spider-Man fan, or just like a movie fan, a comic book fan, like what do you value in these types of movies? Like what is a better acting performance to you? And you're gonna have different answers. Again, that's a terrible movie if you're this objective reviewer on which one's better.
Wait, what?
The new the two Spider-Man movies, like how can you say like which one's better if they're like very similar? I don't know. I was trying to frame like what you were going for. I don't know if that's what you were trying to say.
That yeah, I mean, well, what I'm saying, like, what the difference of the two Lion Kings is they're two different mediums, which kind of makes it hard to be like, which is better? Like, do you prefer the live action?
They're both animated.
I mean, yes,
The new Lion
they
King is
are
an-
animated like heavy air quotes around that. Like it's live, like realistic animation compared to more the cartoony. And
Yeah.
which is why I think it's kind of hard to be like, oh, well then you could say like which was better, the new Beauty and the Beast or the old Beauty and the Beast, or the new Dumbo or the old Dumbo, like.
We are really just. This audience is
Yeah,
just
now
a
it's-
flame war in the comments, mostly at me.
Mostly one.
I had to
the
finish
one
this
person
argument.
arguing
Fuck
with
Shaboy.
himself.
I'm
just like-
super passionate about.
Sorry, I'm just a very objective person, and I feel attacked right now.
The whole point of art is that it's subjective, though. In my eyes, like the whole point of it is like to make you feel things and to make you think, and the whole, if you're trying to like put that in a bubble, you're trying to like encapsulize art as black and white when art is colorful as shit. Like, do you see what I'm trying to say here?
Yes, I see. I understand.
But you're not
You don't
agreeing
have to-
with me.
Our
Why
video
do I
game is
have to?
art.
Because I want
Why
to make
can't you just
progress here.
understand?
I mean, I can, but like
There
I
can
feel
be
like
a little objectivity.
I feel like
If
Is there a little
if
bit?
Simba had a truck driver accent where he's just like, well, let's go,
If
Timon
you're
and Pumbaa."
if you're a
Simba's
Southern
goofy.
bumpkin, that would be awesome to you.
I hope it
It
isn't.
would be relatable.
I hope
But to
it-
someone that's really cool, why does their opinion not matter? Because they're in the minority? We already established that
because-
that's not the case.
Or because they are a minority.
But you see what I'm trying to say, though, right?
Yeah,
like, why does his opinion not matter? Are you
in
just
the
a,
grand scheme of things of the universe, nobody matters. So
that is also true. But like, we are like you just
So-
think you're more important than this country bumpkin
Actually,
dude.
the
Your
square
opinion
root-
matters more.
Don't say it.
the square.
Whatever you're about to say, don't say it.
most of the world is living off like 10% of like geniuses here. So like, yeah, most of the world doesn't really matter their opinions.
So
So I'd say objectively,
This-
the 10% get to decide what is objective.
The audience
This-
is going to vote him off
okay.
the show.
the intelligent people decide everything. Keep in mind that these intelligent people don't know shit about film, because their brain has a limited space, and they probably know about all this other shit, but they don't know shit about art, but they can define what's good art, is
But
what you're
isn't
saying.
it intelligent people that make the live action?
You mean
I would assume.
So out of those tens of thousands of people that worked on both Lion Kings, all of them are super intelligent.
Yeah.
Beyonce's super intelligent.
The tens of thousand people. You mean the people that like?
Worked on those movies?
No, like the people that like drive the celebrities around. They get their name in the movie. So like,
And
they
so
didn't work on it. They worked on it, but like.
But just even Beyonce is super intelligent. Donald Glover.
Is it
Seth Rogen is incredibly intelligent.
Mm-hmm.
That's what you're saying? And their opinion matters more than yours?
Maybe.
Like, I'm trying to break this
I'm
barrier.
not talking about.
I got nothing.
I
man.
told you, man. There is
I'm on
some
your side,
subjectivity.
Soul. I'm not.
That's all I need. You're in the
But-
minority, so your opinion does not matter, according to you. We are the 10% that matters.
But then again, I don't think either of our opinion, like in the how we feel about, what's. There are things that we can all agree on. Like we can agree that certain people at our job suck. All three of us can agree on that. That there are people we wish weren't there. But
But
then-
let's say there's 10 new people who also suck, who think that those people are awesome and that we suck.
Well then.
So now there's subjectivity in everything,
Yeah.
not just
All
art.
right. I'm
Yes.
gonna go back
Everything's
to being
subjective.
radio
There's
no
silence,
right
and
so
wrong.
I give up.
Yes.
There's no good or evil.
This reality only exists in our brains, so our reality defines it to us.
So somebody that kills people that thinks that killing is good, murder. No, not just killing, murder.
Right.
Because murder's good.
Because it was my. I mean.
Because it's my
There
opinion.
is no good.
Exterminous people.
There is no good. We define what's good to us and based on our principles,
No.
but like the universe
To
doesn't
me,
give a shit.
To me, there's God.
I mean, for
and
you,
so-
yes, obviously.
So there's obviously objective good and evil, but not.
Okay, that's in that case, then yes, that's an objective truth. And
Yes.
that has nothing to do with art, though.
Yeah, that gets into like the morals and ethics and.
Yeah. So
Then our morals should guide our art.
So by that logic, whatever Lion King was more religiously okay and
Yeah,
made
which-
less bads was the better one.
Definitely the new one then, because the
That's-
old one had the scene where Simba
With the
threw
sex in
himself.
Sky?
Yeah, exactly. Where Simba threw himself down and the sex.
That was right after he was with that was right after he met like Nala after all that time. So he was
Yeah.
like, man, I really want to marry her and have sex with her, and he sent out that message. So that was his desire.
So technically,
to-
the new one.
You can say what that matters,
Based on.
but he's
our-
saying I won't have this until I'm married. That's what he would. That is.
Or the preacher in Little Mermaid having a boner at the front of the ship. And
This is just subliminal messages you're talking about.
the penis is on Trident's castle.
Yeah. That all the newer films are better in the eyes of God, probably. By that logic, you probably think it's all just
No,
filth,
actually,
though.
the newer one
Look at these people
with
partaking in all
Timon's
forms
little
of
speech
debauchery.
that he had.
Oh, about, the Circle of Life. Or his version of the Circle of Life, the Circle of the Food Chain.
Mm-hmm. Where nothing matters once you die, basically. Kind of
Yeah.
thing.
By that logic, the old Lion King would be 1,000 times better.
Yeah.
So,
All eyes on you.
in that logic, there is a version of objectivity, but I don't think that has anything to do with what we're talking about.
Yeah.
Have I convinced you?
You've done a good job. I mean, like,
You're warming up.
I wasn't against that it's subjective. I guess, like, the people I watch and stuff like that, there's obviously a bias towards the idea of, like, certain very obscene, like what I would say is crap, but, like, postmodern stuff being uglier versus, like, classical art. Like, obviously, to somebody's, like, else's that's in postmodern, they believe it's the greatest stuff. But, you know, it's...
We're going on the postmodern rabbit hole right now.
Yeah.
I give up. I'm checking it out. I'm
well-
swiping my card and I'm out.
Just to finish it all off, Shulgi, did I convince you?
Yeah, I mean, I was on your side kind of to begin with anyway. Like, I'm not gonna, you know, as we mentioned earlier in the show, like, my girlfriend's got all this abstract art hanging in our house, and it's not my favorite. I don't care for it. I'm more of a classical romance era art kind of guy where I can point out what I'm like, yes, I can tell exactly what's going on in this painting or this piece of artwork or like classic sculpture, and she's more like likes that stuff because it makes my brain think and like what am I looking at? I'm trying to figure out what I'm looking at. And
Try to create a story behind it, and then you kind of
exactly. So
the time you spend thinking about that story exceeds the just
exactly.
whatever.
I can't get mad at her for liking that. I don't like it, and I know she doesn't like the things that I like in paintings because she's like, that's boring. It doesn't make me think. Like I can see everything right there that's going on. It doesn't make me think. It's just there. I've seen it. I don't need to look at it again.
Yeah.
I will touch.
So
Art, I will say art is subjective. You've changed my mind. But that doesn't mean that you have to feel something when you look at the art. You can still... okay. You can still look at a piece of art that somebody's done and they think it's the greatest, and you'd be like, well, you know, it didn't hit home with me. You know, you don't...
That is
you
the
don't have
definition
to
of
approve.
subjective.
Yes. But, like, I feel that a lot of times, especially with, like, the way art is going this way, that it is where mainstream art is going,
I keep hearing things and I can hear it being picked up in the mic.
You were cracking your own knuckles.
No, that wasn't it. I hear. I guess Soul's girlfriend has the TV on in the other room.
I can't hear it.
Where, like, you see crowds of people in these art museums, and it's just like, especially this one specific one where it's literally just walls of white pictures, like canvases that are just white, and like there's
Too
these
meta
people
for
that are
you.
taking pictures and like
the white canvases.
yeah, and it's just like, are you being forced to actually like to me, you're just looking at a white canvas. There's like, come on, like.
Yeah.
I feel like you're being forced.
No, I went to
enjoy.
the Chicago History Museum of Art, and there was like sketches where they were just like getting their brushes ready, and it's just scribbles, plastered like it's the most important thing ever.
You
Yeah,
should
at
at
least
least
I get
one of the
that.
most important
You
museums
shouldn't
ever.
force yourself.
I mean, that's
to
like a
enjoy
historic
something.
thing, kind of. Like
yeah,
I kind of get it.
It's like the process, like showing the It's like the reason why people want to buy like musicians
Yeah,
like
that I
lyric
kinda get.
books and like their demo recordings, and like people want to buy like first drafts of like novels that they really enjoyed and stuff like that. Like it's a piece of history, quote unquote, like you said, where it's like the beginning of this creating process that is taking place on another canvas, creating possibly, you know, a very historic, powerful piece of art.
Yeah, but I know this is probably like the biggest objective or subjective argument. I know one reviewer who said like if there was a movie where it's just literally a white wall and paint drying, he would consider that like a 5 out of 10 movie. Because if the director was going for that, then it's a 5 out of 10 because he accomplished what he wanted but didn't do anything to add to that. And to me, that's a 0 out of 10. That's boring as shit. But to him, like his idea of what is good is like if the director accomplished like what they intended to the fullest.
It's too much force. I feel like you're just forcing yourself at that point.
Yeah.
To like come up with your own subjective view. Yeah.
Yeah.
of what art is good.
And I mean, what if the director starts out with one idea and then ends up with something completely different by the end of the movie? Like, goes in with, like, okay, this is the way I want it to go. But
You'll never fully understand what he was going for, and I don't think anyone fully understands even when they're making art. Like, it's kind of like a natural, your body does the work for you a lot of the times. So I think to put that stamp on it is also ridiculous. Shout out to Your Movie Sucks for that.
I hope people have made it through this 30-minute rant and actually found out that
Yeah,
they
like I
have
said,
changed
now-
my
now
mind.
for
And they're not just
section-
shit-talking my...
Anyone who made it to the end had the achievement unlocked. He changed his mind.
Don't worry, this last 45 minutes of the show will be cut, deleted, static for 45
Please don't.
minutes, extra minutes.
Please
You can
don't.
just like
It'll go on the Patreon.
You can just scrunch it and give us chipmunk voices, so it's like extra speed,
Yeah.
and it'll be like.
And I'm gonna go
50-minute
ahead and
podcast.
speed this up for us here.
Shaboy, close us out.
Well, this has been a very interesting podcast. It was not supposed to actually be this long, but now it's, currently our
We're gonna
longest
get up
one.
to 4 hours eventually.
Well, if y'all have any closing remarks, I'll just sign us off.
I'm sleepy.
I'm
I'm going to
Swoogie
bed.
is sleepy.
I'm going to bed.
Soul is feeling good right now. About,
No, I'm feeling good, like,
victoriously
Any
changing my mind.
like I know that we went on for a while, and I'm gonna try to like avoid long podcasts because it's not like YouTube friendly. But like I've never given a shit about what was YouTube friendly. Yeah, exactly. Like I think we had good shit
Channel
to say
taken
throughout
down.
the whole time. So if that's how long it takes to get that good shit out there, that's how long it takes. And if you had 2.5 hours of free time and you made it to the end, then you are a goddamn trooper, and I respect you and I love you. That is my ending.
It's really fun.
All
This
right.
entertaining.
And
For
if you
sure.
would like to hear more 2-hour rants, please consider subscribing. Smashing that like button consensually.
Always.
This is your boy signing off. Until next time.